How much are you touching, IQ, at this point? How much money are you touching? Don't be shy.
Nani anahesabu? Nani anahesabu? Oh, bro, I could have died on that day and gone to heaven for the rest of eternity. My job had been done at that point. It was so fulfilling, bro.
Your friend, Andrew Kibe, a friend of mine as well, has famously mentioned that his S550 is part of your fleet. Is that true?
For them that can afford to pay for it, yes. It's a very, very premium service.
I love this mature version of bravado because it's earned. It's earned.
I did not stop paying brack tax until very recently. I refused. I stopped paying brack tax. Let me tell you, they don't care what you do to get the money. They don't care what time it is where you are. They don't even know there is a time zone. When their need comes, they will call you at 3 o'clock in the morning. Kwani nimekuwa mucha? And it's nature. This is not a shaming women. This is not a blame on women. When a man and a woman break up, the woman already knows where the next relationship is. A man does not, because women are in touch with nature more than men are in touch with nature. They are very calculated because nature itself depends on them making the right choices selfishly for themselves.
Every other time with Eric, our first ever remote episode, we had to have a legend, man. Someone who's been causing shockwaves on the airwaves. IQ Watson, all the way reporting from you're in Texas, right?
Austin, Texas. Yes, sir.
Austin, Texas. What time is it there, brother?
11:30 p.m.
11:30. Oh my God, yes. Time difference, man. Thank you for
It's
making
my
time.
sleep time.
Thank you for making time. Apologies for the slight delay. Of course, like I said, it's
All
our
good.
first one. So
All
we're
good.
making history here, man.
Yes, sir.
So talk to me, man. I've been seeing you've ramped up the content. For anyone who doesn't know IQ Watson, I think has been, I'd say, on the airwaves. You came into my purview from about, I'd say, 2.5 years ago, 3 years. I've seen your clips here and there, but in the recent past, you seem to have turned on the content gear on. What's that about, and why are you making inroads in content? Because we see you as a successful guy. You know, we see the watch, we see the car, we see the swagger. So what is this inroad into content about?
You mean successful like Joe Rogan? You
That's
mean
what we're trying to
successful
be here.
like Jordan Peterson?
Yes.
You mean successful like everybody else who is successful and also doing content?
Yes.
There is no limit.
I love that. You know, and the interesting thing is my platform literally is about that because I have a day job and I do this with equal passion than my
Yeah.
day job. Right now, the day job pays the bills, but I know this is the one that's going to retire me.
That's your plan.
That's my plan, man. This is my digital shamba. You know, guys are buying land in all over the place speculating. Me, this is my shamba.
That's a good plan.
Yes. So
Yes,
let's take it back to the beginning because obviously you're one of the success stories of people who've been able to go to America and at least visibly you look successful. Your mentality speaks success.
I am very successful.
How does IQ Watson end up in Texas as a successful businessman? What is the beginning of this story?
No, the guy who came here was a hustler. And I want to correct something. I am not successful. I am success.
What's the difference, sir?
Success is not something you achieve. Success is something you become. Yes.
Expound on that a
Big
bit.
difference. Did you say explain?
Please expound on that. Expound a bit here.
Yes. So it's like happiness. There is no journey towards happiness. There is nowhere you're going to go and say, now I have arrived to a place where I'm happy. No.
Yes.
you become happy. And then happiness flows out of you.
Yes.
So I have to be, my identity is success
Is this a mentality
from
you started?
within,
Yeah.
so that now everything I do becomes successful because I am success. God had to be life to give life.
Deep. Where does this mentality come from? Because you said you started
It's
off as a hustler. The
it's
hustler who
it's
was in Kenya, who managed to leave Kenya for the States, was that
it's it's
mentality already there?
it's not a mentality, it's a mindset. Mindset. It's something
Yes.
you shift towards. It's a paradigm
Yes.
shift. It's a realization. It's an awakening. It's a
It's a
consciousness.
coming of age of sorts.
It's a coming of self. Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
So, talk about the IQ Watson hustler who decided to go to the States. What were you doing in Kenya by the time you decided to? Because I'm
I
assuming, I stand corrected, um, you're an era of, you were there during the Moy era. You were here during the Moy era.
yes.
And I remember growing up, I mean, just watching my parents, I remember the Moy era was very, the future didn't look bright and people were always just in a perpetual survival mode.
Exactly. Now,
So what were,
now it's going to make my story very easy. Because it was
go
that
ahead.
state of being, that state of mind, sitting around, looking around and seeing there is no hope in the future. And I was like, there has to be something better. So when I finished high school, uh, my sister was married to a deputy principal at St. Xavier, Nakuru.
Yes.
It's a premium public school where all the very top people went.
Yes.
And at the time, during the provincial commission, provincial administration, even the provincial commissioner's children went to that school.
Yes.
The people, the guy at the Senate and the one leading the NIS,
Yes.
they were students of my brother-in-law.
Okay. Okay. So they turned out to be.
I had been to their house when they lived in Nakuru with their father as a PC. So my
Okay.
brother-in-law was a very respected guy, Winfrey Gichuki,
Yes.
very decent guy, very decent guy. So he had connections because of the kind of students that came to his school. So
Mm.
he offered to speak to one of the Indian guys who was his student, the only son of a very big family that owned, among other things, a petrol station in the
Yes.
center of Nakuru, Bazaar Road Total Service Station.
Yes.
I still treasure that uniform, a red top and gray pants. Me
Yes.
and my buddy Wainaina from when I was 20, 21.
Are you saying that IQ used to pump fuel?
That, bro, I was the best.
and
I was
and
the best. No,
wonderful.
and I'm glad that we started this story from being successful. No, success is something you become.
Mm.
In that moment, one of our biggest customers, we used to call them invoice customers. They would send their drivers with their vehicles, and then we
Mhm.
would put an invoice, and then they would later pay. One of the customers was Magic Superstores,
Yes.
modern day Tuskies supermarket.
Oh my. Oh my. Rich history
Between
here.
Magic Superstore, they became Tusker mattresses, then Tuskies supermarket.
Yes.
So I was there for 4 years. And in the time, unbeknown to me, the father of all the boys of the Tuskies was observing me.
And this is the gentleman whose picture used to be hung up in Tuskies, the mzee.
Yes, Joram Kamau himself.
Wow, 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 wow.
Yes.
And before you proceed, I want to just touch on something, because a lot of times people think that when I reach a certain point is when I'm gonna activate that mindset. But what we're hearing from this origin story is the mindset was there as you are pumping fuel. You're saying you are the best. You're talking about how
Yes.
you are proud of your uniform, you know?
Bro, I mean, this is me. I just came from the village.
Yes.
I am in the city getting paid to interact with the world. I'm interacting with the people who don't speak my language. I'm learning their language.
Mm,
I am learning how to be a young adult. I'm learning how to interact. I'm learning how to obey commands and follow rules and work well with adults and supervisors and managers and people who have been there before me. I'm ready,
and,
happy as a kite.
and this work ethic comes from, was it top down? Did your parents impart, or it was internal? Because
Growing up in the village,
growing up in the
growing up
village,
in the
yeah?
village, the village has pattern. The village has rhythms. Like the village has order. You wake
You
up in
wake
the
up early.
morning, you start the fire, you warm the water, you go bring the cow, you bring them to the milking shed, you milk the cows, you take them back, you take the milk, you put them in a aluminum thing, you get on a bike, you take it to the center. You come back, you put on your uniform, you go to school. After school, you come and you go water the cows and take care of the goats. And 6 o'clock, because it's the equator, the sun goes out very early. Six
Mm,
thirty, you are bringing the cows and the goats and the sheep back up, and then you milk the cows. And there is the feed, the manufactured feed. You have to know the right formula. When the cow is calving, you have to know how to feed the calf. You have to know how to
yes.
separate the cow from the calves. The goats, you have to know how to tie the ropes that they are using so that they don't destroy property and crops. You have to tie the ropes properly so that you don't choke on the you don't choke they don't choke on the rope. Even some of the cows are being tied. They keep the rope on their neck as they go up the hill. There is order, there is pattern, there is the plowing season, there is the seeding season, there is the rain season, the short rains, there is the weeding season. Then the maize, the beans grow faster than the corn. So there is the harvesting of the beans. You put them to dry. Then the maize are now green. And it's the full moon. Now you can start roasting the fresh maize as you
So
beat down the beans and then set them to dry. And then there is a time, the perfect timing for when the maize is ready, you harvest it before the rain starts and dehusk them and put them in the granary. There is a
so
pattern, there is order, there is no room for being left behind.
so discipline becomes implicit almost. I mean,
It's
it's
part
not
of
even
you.
up for debate. Eh? It's not different from a city upbringing where you're woken up, you're told it's time to go shower,
I
you're
wouldn't
told
know
your
how city
breakfast,
life looks like. I wouldn't know
your
how
breakfast.
city life looks. And,
No,
and, and
I grew up.
everything is ready. Where does milk come from the fridge? Where does food come from the fridge? Where does soda come? Everything comes from the fridge. I'm like, whoa. So
So
there is
you know,
that order,
yes.
and it leaves it. It becomes part of your DNA.
So while working at the petrol station, you said that the founder of Tuskies, unbeknownst to you, he's monitoring you. He's seeing your work ethic. He's
Yes,
seeing your
yes,
hunger and drive to, and he's already identifying that this young man has the mindset that me I have used to get to the point where I've opened all of this empire.
Yeah.
So how does that play out?
And I have to say something. The rest, most of the people are older. They are in maybe that the youngest maybe 35. They are 40 and 50, and the little old lady was like 60 years old. But there is Wainaina, who is probably 2 or 3 years older than me. So we are the young ones. So the energy is conspicuous. The old ones are the ones said in us because we are the energetic one. But I'm happy as a kite to do these things because I want to learn all these kind of things. I want to learn how to put the right fluid in the battery. Back in the day, there used to be water battery water, and acid, and acid for the battery. And you
Yes.
knew how to put them equally. The brake fluid, the changing the oil, all these kind of things. I am curious, like George.
And how are you dealing with money at this point? How are you managing your the money that you're earning?
Very good question. Very good question. Because at this time, I'm staying with my sister and her husband, Winfred Gichuki, for a period of time. We can call it 7 months. But in the meantime, I'm saving my money and I'm going to a carpenter and I am putting down some money for, I think they used to call it Humphrey sofa sets, the one made
Yes.
of wood.
Yes.
I think called Humphrey or something like that, Murphy or something.
Yes.
So I'm putting money down for a bed. I'm putting money down for those wooden sofa sets. I'm putting
Yes.
money down for a little table. Pay everything on the book. And then on the other side in town, I'm going to a Karasinka store and I'm paying a little bit money for the cushions that are going to go to the wooden sofa, and then the mattress, and then the cooking stove, the one that uses paraffin. And then when all these things were ready, I go look for my 10 by 12 room and I move. Now I am in another level. Now I live in my own spot.
And
I have a crib.
there's nothing more, and I think any man or any male, there's nothing more fulfilling than that first space that is yours. However big,
10 by
however small,
12.
it is such a sanctuary of sorts. It becomes, this is, I am the king here. There's no one who can tell me
Yes.
how to do. And it basically tells you that now I'm predetermining my destiny. The destiny is in my hands. If I want to live a meaningless life of just wasting time and malarkey, yeah, you're in charge of yourself and the results will be upon you. So I remember that moment of when you move into your first space. And at this
Yeah.
point, because you're a young man, you've moved into your first place, you've had the wherewithal to buy and procure things here and there. Are there any vices at play? Because any alcohol, women,
No,
even on a small level?
no. There was no need for it. There is no need for it. For what? For what reason?
So no vices. And I think that's an important part, because if the path to, in my opinion, if the path to success is a straight road, I feel like vices just take you on a detour, and that detour can last. I'm a culprit or victim of this. I self-victimize like this. Took a detour with these vices, spent at least 7 8 years of pure wasting time until I came to that point where I was real with self and I had to turn my life around.
Yeah.
And a lot of time lost. So if you skip those useless vices, you save yourself a lot of time. A lot.
And I'll give credit to the evangelical movement that came into in Kenya in the 90s, late 80s and 90s. It drew a lot of young men to church
Mm.
so that they are in tune in the journey of discovery of their purpose. And that was very helpful. And I remember back then, even in between Sunday to Sunday. During the week, they would hold some in-home Bible studies where
Mm.
youths got brought together and engaged, and they kept their mind busy on a single purpose: to shield them from now the exposure of the vices that are very prominent in the city life.
Yes.
But it was never something in my spectrum. I detested alcohol from the get-go. I saw, and the good thing about the village, because of the patterns, the ones that are left behind are the ones that have involved themselves in alcohol. So at a
Mm.
very early age, you identify failure with alcohol and alcohol with
Mm.
failure. If
It's
you see
right there in your
somebody living
purview.
in a dilapidated house, there is alcohol involved in it. So as a young boy, the psyche is alcohol bad, bad lifestyle. Bad lifestyle
Mm.
comes from alcohol. And it's very conspicuous. You can't miss it. The lessons are there,
Yes.
nobody needs to say anything. Yeah.
So how does this? You've moved into your own house. How does this then develop to you wanting to go to the States? Where does that even idea come from? Where does that
Oh no, I
idea?
didn't. I did not. So now I'm there for 4 years. Now let's go back to Mzee Joram Kamau.
Yes.
So he approaches me one day, and he said, "Hey, I've been watching you, and I like how you like your job, and I can see you're a very hardworking guy, and you're energetic. I want to offer you an opportunity to go work with my sons in Nairobi. They are opening a new supermarket. At this time, I don't know they have Tusker mattresses, but Magic Superstore has a Tusker mattress on Mfangano Street.
Yes.
Now they are in the middle of opening OTC Tusker mattresses.
Yes.
Now he is recruiting me for that one." I'm like, "Yes, sir."
Very fast.
And he said, "And they pay a little bit more better than here."
Music to your ears.
Oh, bro. I was like, let's do this. So now I moved to Nairobi.
What was that first
And
encounter with Nairobi? The big city.
lucky for me now, I have the sister immediately older than me lives
Yes.
in uh what is that name place that says light industry?
Light industries. I'm not familiar. Which
Past
side?
Huruma. Past
Pastor.
Huruma,
Any
something
idea?
light industry.
I'm not sure.
So now I am staying there and I'm working at Mfangano Street.
Mm.
Mfangano and Haile Selassie. That's where the first supermarket was. And because I'm coming from handling money at the gas station, they put me as a cashier. And a cashier gets paid more money.
Yes.
And I am very good with the machine. Very good. I get there and I find people who have worked there for 7 years and 5 years in the cashier section.
Yes.
And I beat them all within 3 months.
You become a maestro.
And And there used to be a gauge because those machines of the past, it could count how many people you have served.
Mm.
I remember one of the Decembers, because we used to work all the way until December 24. One of December 24th, I served 1,600 people.
Wow.
That was the highest in the history of that place.
And just to
And we are handling cash money. There was no credit cards those days.
just to emphasize what you describe about, I'm young, but I'm not that young. I do remember whenever we'd go shopping, be it Nakumat, for sure, different cashiers had different levels of ability. There are times
Yes.
you'd be served by a cashier who was just a maestro, like, and other times, of course, you'd be there, just like Harakisha Changamka Bana. So I have that picture of you being good with a cashier. It was a skill
And
set
I
for
had
sure.
I had an added advantage. I was born left-handed.
Yes.
But in second grade, they taught me to write with my right hand. So everything that is job is left hand.
Yes.
Everything that is writing is right hand. So when I'm sitting on the Casio, I'm typing with my right hand and I'm picking the items with my left hand, my
Yes.
strongest hand.
Wow.
And I have memorized the prices of 97, 98% of everything in the store within 6 months. Everything.
Wow.
Today, I can tell you the price of anything. You can tell me what item, I can tell you what it was.
Do you have any pictures from this era that we could use for in post?
The Tuskies, no, because we worked 7 days a week. There
Okay.
was no time for free time. But
Got it.
for the gas station, yes, I have a very nice picture. Two pictures that I'm very proud of. I
You
post
will
them
share with
everywhere.
us. You'll share with us.
Yes.
So, are your employers recognizing this natural
Oh
talent,
yeah.
natural ability, work
Oh
ethic?
yeah. Very much so. But then there is just a little tiny feeling on the management side
Yes.
that this Johnny just come is going to overtake us. This Johnny just
Naturally.
come is outshining us, is making us look bad. So there is also
Anachoma
that
ban.
politics, Zakazi. The people who are, we used to call them chief cashiers. There is one guy that was very intimidated by my success, very intimidated. And he would try to play tricks, but I'm a very intuitive person. And if I catch somebody doing something dirty, I don't know how to be nice. I only know how to be real. So I'll call
Mm,
him out on his BS. And now the branches are opening back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they are moving me around where it's busy. So they train me in Fangano. They
yes.
take me to OTC. They find out OTC is not as busy because it's a new store. They bring
Mm,
me back to Mfangano. They open Hakati just across the street towards the KBS. They take me there. It becomes almost like my home base.
yes.
Then they open another one by the fire engine, way out there on Moy Avenue, by the fire engine.
Yes.
I go work there, and then next to the bomb blast,
Yes.
there was a Pioneer building. It used to be called Pioneer.
Yes.
They opened one there, and they sent me there. That was very busy and very premium.
And at this point,
These are
as an employee of this growing business, are you able to see the potential in terms of, we all know, of course, the fate that ended up befalling Tuskies, but before the fate happened, I mean, Tuskies grew to, I mean, I think it was rivaling the biggest supermarkets, it was among the biggest supermarkets in Kenya that we'd ever seen. So at this point, as you're an employee of Joram and the board, were you guys able to feel the vision growing?
bro,
Because Tuskies,
we are growing like weed. They can't get enough people to hire because they were very particular on the kind of people they hire. I was the only outsider at the time.
mm,
Everybody there is somebody from the village back in where they come from, outside Nakuru town,
yes,
Rongai.
yes,
So, and it's either a father and then the son finishes school and they bring the son there. It's an uncle, it's a cousin, it's a brother, a little brother, it's a little sister. They all come there. And now they are looking at me like, you are from Central Kenya. How did you get here? Because everybody's from Nakuru.
and you're
But now
shining.
they get so big now, they started recruiting people who know people who know people. At some point, I even take my cousin there, and we
Yes.
worked for a while, and then he went to college. So the growth is tremendous. The work ethic training, bro, you cannot pay money anywhere to get the kind of training I got on work ethics. That That was my home base for
That's your
work ethics.
foundation.
That was my cemented foundation for work ethics and honesty and diligence and trust, to be trusted with this liquid money. We are creating so much money. There is no time to count how much you have before you give it to the chief cashier. You pick a bag, you put the money in, you give to the chief cashier, and nobody would shortcharge anyone.
Yes. And how
We
long does
had
this run
our
last?
oh, huh?
How long does this run last of your stint there? How long does this last? How long are you
Five
there?
years, bro.
5
5
solid.
years. 5 solid years.
Wow.
Yes.
So I'm assuming by this time you're how old? By the time you're finishing with or your tenure comes to an end at Tuskies, how old
By
are you?
the time I'm exiting, I'm 29.
Where
So
after?
I started 20 in the gas pump, do 4 years, then come do 5 years here, 9 years. Now makes me 29.
And what is the backdrop of your life at this point? What is the home version? Because I'm assuming at some point maybe you moved out from your in-law.
Oh, I stayed there just for a brief moment. Just like I stayed in my sister's place. Just a very brief moment. Found a place closer now to town. In that place, man, I wish that name would come to me.
Kariobangi.
Kanyombangi. Yes,
There
sir.
we are.
Yes, sir. Kariobangi Light Industries.
Yes.
I had to catch a KBS bus every night going to the dump site. What is the name of the dump site?
Dandora?
Dadora. Yes. Buses are Dadora.
Yes.
And it would not stop. It would just slow down and you jump out. So after a time, I got a house in Pagani roundabout,
Yes.
where Muranga and Forest Road started. I got a house right there, a little bigger, maybe 15 by 10.
Yes. And I want to ask you this. As a young man, you're 29, because a challenge I'm facing with my peers is, you see, the political climate tends to, it can have an effect on one's psyche, even as you're pursuing whatever career, whatever goals, whatever personal initiatives. Now, in this era, because you're 29, the government of the days, of course, famously known MO1, Moi. So, is the political climate affecting your psyche around how you do your own personal things? Is that something that's
At the,
looming?
at the very beginning, when I was still a teenager, the
No,
agitation
this,
for multi-party was, at its prime.
yes,
I'm still at the village, maybe in my last year of high school.
yes,
And that whole wave. So Sabasaba happened when I was in high school.
okay,
Then the agitation caught so much fire. Now they started going city to city.
mm,
And this group and Charles Rubia had just been released, but Matiba was still inside.
yes,
I remember going with my brother, who is the middle brother, who is a little older than me, to Ihura Stadium in Muranga. And Moite and Orengo and Gitobu Imanyara and Mohamed Mo. He was a photographer, a
yes, the
celebrated
famous,
photographer at the time.
yes,
And Balala, the fiery Balala, and all these people, Ginyo Karaoke, BGM Karaoke, all these people came through, and we are shaking hands with them, and we are all agitated and excited, exactly like the Gen Zs of today.
mm,
And they are there in a platform, and there are speeches, and this Moi must go, we have to do this. And I think you saw me make a video of that
yes,
when I
yes,
was
yes,
when I was asking. Orengo was there with me,
yes. I
and
love
from
that video.
that day to today, he has gotten 35 years of security of tenure. What did I get?
I really loved that video because it challenged me. I was like, sometimes people think they are fighting for the purported agenda. Oh, Ruto must go. Oh, no must go. But people are fighting for themselves. The guys who are
Yes.
puppeteering the movement know very well exactly what they are fighting for. We are just
Exactly.
conduits of their own fight.
Yeah. And now,
And
and now,
the name, the names you mentioned, I mean, Balala. Balala has been in politics for 40
fiery
years.
Balala, a different Balala. You probably know that Balala.
Yes,
It's a different kind of a guy. He was something else.
and they've survived for 40 years, and they've only
Yes.
their careers have only blossomed.
Yes. And now you look, even if we drift a little bit, you
Mm.
look at Sharif Nasir.
Yeah.
He was the pioneer for Majibo, which now we are calling counties.
Yes.
He was Majibo leo, Majibo kesho, Majibo kila wakati.
Yes.
Sababu Mombasa hatupati haki yetu. Tunataka tujitawale, tujilishe na tujidumu. Tunataka
Yes.
Majibo. That guy, in silence, was training his son to take over.
Mm.
Many, many years later, the son now is sitting as the leader of the Majibo that the father fought for.
Yes.
So, who was he doing? Sharif Nasir was the only person who could pick up a mic and say something contrary to Moi. The only person in Kenya.
Who is Sharif Nasir's son, if I may?
The governor of Mombasa.
Oh my goodness. Abdul Swamad is Sharif's son.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. This is a history lesson right here. What?
Yes.
They have then, and I'll tell you this, IQ. There's been definitely an intentional, uh, they've been very intentional about their messaging to keep that out of mainstream POV. Because unless you know, someone like you who has, of course, was there, it's not common knowledge that that Abdul Samad is Sharif's son. And I
Bro.
think that's intentional.
So now you look at Sharif Nasir, fiery, firebird, controversial Mombasa politician, Sharif Nasir, all 5'0" of him. He was the only guy who would pick up the mic in a Moi's rally and say something against Moi, respectively,
With
but
his
he
Arafat.
had his own start. And he was saying, we are being short-charged in Mombasa. The resources don't leave Nairobi to come to Mombasa. Mombasa, Pwani sio Kenya. He's the one who used to say that because you are marginalized. And now, if you look at it and you look at the education system after the Majibo came, now the counties, we realized Kikuyus weren't the smartest kids in Kenya because
Mm.
they had hoarded the education privileges to themselves. The best schools were in central Kenya, the
Yes.
best high schools. Once the country opened up and Sharif Nasir's dream of Majibo was realized, and the resources were shared back to where the people are, away from central Kenya, away from Nairobi. Now, who are the leading students in Kenya national exams? They are the people on the western side
Yes.
of Rift Valley.
Indeed. Indeed. Wow, that's a
People
very
like people in Turkana, people in Lodwar. When President Ruto became president, the the AD camp that stood before him,
yes.
that guy is from North Rift. He's a genius. It's a genius. If Majibo had not come, the overwhelming hoarding of resources and opportunities by the Kikuyus, he would not have shown.
Mm. Mm, 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 mm.
Now we know the smartest kids are Kisis. The smartest kids are Luyas. The smartest kids are Turkanas.
Yes. So it was
Now let's go back to Sharif Nasir. Now, even Sharif Nasir, now looking back with the hindsight of 2020, who and what was he fighting for? His son is the governor of the Majibo. He demanded, what is in there for me?
So people need to think twice as they. I remember last year during the famous Gen Z protests and the famous Twitter space that happened where you were there and they bundled you out when you try to talk about some basic things, principles, discipline, focus,
Exactly.
direction.
Yes.
And they were so hell bent on leaderless, rudderless, headless.
Brainless.
and,
Brainless.
and your words, I think I've even shared it on several other interviews. I'm like, your words came to ring true as things developed. Like
Exactly.
some implicits have to be there, for a movement to take shape in the manner that you want it to take shape. It can't just be amorphous from start to finish. That
You
amorphousness is what
have,
actually finished,
I,
it fizzled out.
I told them they have to be organized, they have to be disciplined, and they have to tap into the ingenuity and the resources of them that have been before them. This here is the only generation of people that believe they know better than the older generation. They were born with everything. They were born with the knowledge. Everybody else is stupid. They are the smart one. By just mere chance of being 23 and 24 years old. In which world has that ever happened?
It has never happened, and I think that's and I'll speak for
In
men
which world?
specifically. I'll speak for men specifically. The beginning of wisdom is that realization. When you realize you don't know everything, in fact, you don't know quite a bit, and there's a lot to be learned. That humility, that coming, for a man, I think it tends to happen. It's a moment in time when you realize, wait a minute, what I thought I knew versus what it is are two very different things, and I have a lot to learn. That is usually, I feel, the beginning of growth for men. But that idea of how I say, oh, gee, these guys are old, or these guys, their way has not. Some things don't. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
And if you look even that what do they call it? The serenity prayer.
Yes.
Lord, help me. That prayer
Grant,
is being said in old age.
yes. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the
To know the
difference.
difference. People are saying that prayer in old age. You should say that prayer at the beginning so that it can be your guiding light, so that it empties that bravado of emptiness and testosterone you have, that you know anything when you don't know anything.
Yes.
That prayer should humble you. But for a Gen Z, those are just words. And you see people who have succeeded.
We'll come back. We'll
Somebody
come.
like,
We'll come back to the political sphere as we navigate this story, because as we are
yeah.
talking right now, it's a very politically charged moment in time. But as we develop the story, because I'm really keen, I'm really curious, because I remember seeing my uncles. I have two uncles who also they looked for greener pastures. They went to the states. Both of them are aviators, and at some point, whatever they were doing in the states was doing well. They were trackers, and they actually considered dropping the aviation thing and just continuing there because they were making money. But I'm curious,
Mhm.
how does IQ find himself with the idea of going to the States? And how does that materialize?
So now I'm in Tuskies. Now, at the time, Tusker matrices. And I'm looking at the Gen Pop, the people around me, the people we are working with. And everybody is saving money so that they can buy a plot and build a house. Most of them have come from Nakuru, Rift Valley. 100% of them are from Rift Valley.
Mm.
Two Lus, one lawyer, that's it. And their biggest dream is to be able to buy a plot and build a house. And now 20, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28. I'm like, that cannot be my dream. That cannot be my end of life. This cannot be it. So I started saving money into the circle. So we were too small to have our own circle. So
Yes.
they allowed us to buy into the Nakumat circle.
Yes.
I was saving 25% of my paycheck every month into the circle. Not to buy a house and buy a plot, Kakamulu. No. That money was going to be my ticket out of Kenya. And then I started working backwards. Those days, you couldn't walk into Nyayo House and get a passport. You had to know somebody who knows somebody to get you a passport. So there is this young couple, customers of mine. They only came to my line. It's a young guy, I can't remember his name. He had a beautiful, gorgeous wife. And one time he told me, hey, I'm going to Durban, South Africa. And I'm like, how
Yes.
did you get a passport? That was my first question. How did you get a passport? And say, oh, I'll tell you who. So he said, when you go there, go to that floor, door number 4A, tell that guy, I'm the one who sent you. He helped me to get a passport. Remember, we don't have off days. We work 7 days a week. So everything you do, you have to borrow for permission. So I cook up a reason. And they say, okay, you can go 30 minutes. And I run to Nyayo House. I go upstairs and I knock on the door. And I say, my name is George. NGA. And my buddy, whatever his name was, he told me if I ever needed a passport to come, you help me. He said, where is me? We already took him to the airport the other night. He flew to South Africa. He went without telling me, okay, give me your documents, do this and do this, and take this next door. Come after 2 weeks. I go back, knock on his door. He said, go to the next door and tell them I sent you. Don't queue like the other people.
Yes.
Go tell them I sent you. This is upstairs, not when everything is downstairs. I went and got my passport. Went back to him to thank him. And those days, 2,000 Kenya shillings was a lot of money.
When a G was a G.
Bro, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I had decently put it in a tiny little envelope. And I said, boss, you see that hotel right there? Intercontinental was right behind him. Have lunch on me.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
And is as you're getting the passport, is Stato in mind? Ama it's just the doors are open now.
Yes. Stato is in mind, but Canada first.
Why Canada?
I wanted out.
I think because of your work ethic, you've hit the ceiling.
Yes.
And
So
let
at
me, let
this
me-
time,
no, stop there. Let me leave here a bit
yes,
because
sir.
it's so encouraging, to hear someone say something you've described there is something I'm going through right now. That when you look around and you don't get inspired by what you see, by what your colleagues are aspiring for,
It could not have been it.
like
Never.
I look around, I
Never.
have what is called could be looked at as a very high flying job. But I look around at people around me and I'm like, you guys are working for a pension. Guys are okay with owning a car house. No, I'll just own my car house. I'll pay a mortgage till I'm almost on death's door. My kids can go to some decent schools. So I'm just working for bills. And provided I'm walking through the airport and I get some people look at me in a certain way, I'm okay. No way.
Mm-hmm.
No way. No way, Jose. So when you say that, when you recognize around you that you guys are working for to build like a house, no, there has to be more. I really resonate with that, and it's so encouraging to hear that.
And probably we'll get to that. I see people making their future house in a rush. And please, 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 Mheshimiwa Jalango, forgive me for this. Jalango showed us the house he made in his countryside.
Yes.
Do you remember that time? Long time ago, maybe 4 years ago.
Yes, I remember something of the sort. Yes.
It's his permanent future house.
It was premature, uninspiring,
In a hurry.
uninspiring.
Do you get what I'm saying? So now,
Yes.
and I want to explain this. So when I'm looking at these people, their immediate achievement is to build a small house and homestead themselves there. That's plateaus their dream. And so when I saw Jalango as a radio presenter building that house, I was like, no, Jalango, you're going to be a member of parliament. You're going to be a big deal. Wait until you become a big deal and then you can drop a mansion.
Yes.
But he didn't hear me because I was too far. So I looked at that house and I was like, wait a little, it's a home house. You cannot build another one there. This is your village house. And I'm having memories of my father, the house he built for the future, where my mother is now. I'm looking at my mother's sisters, the mansions of the days.
Yes.
And I'm looking at their life when they did it. And it was one and done. The best of the time. So I'm looking at Jarango and I'm like, Jarango, why do I have more faith in you than you have in yourself? This is not the best for you. Now look at him now. That was not the best for him. And Jarango, please, this was just an example. Mimi nakupenda. Kama ningekuwa Lagata ningekupigia kura. Unaelewa?
Yes.
So I couldn't sail in my dream on such a low plateau. I probably was saving more money than anybody else.
25%
But
is
not
very
for a time.
disciplined.
Bro,
25%.
I was making 28,000 Kenya shillings. I was saving 7,000 every month.
That's discipline.
That was decent money. Yes.
So Canada. Why Canada? Why specific?
So in my mind, that should have worked. I later realized it wouldn't work. And not because they denied me a visa. So I looked for a college. It was called Trinity something school. It was in Saskatchewan, Saskatoon.
Yes.
I applied. Those days there was no internet on the phone. You go to a cafe, you pay by the minute to access the internet, and then you print there and they charge you. They said an email, you have to go back there to check the email. So I did all those things. Saskatchewan Trinity College accepted me. So I took my passport to the Canadian embassy. It used to be at the Ajip House.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. Now it's a
Jaramogi
national.
Odiga's house on Haile Selassie.
Yes.
They denied me the visa.
On what grounds?
Insufficient evidence of family ties back home. Wewe haurudi in translation.
Oh, like there's no incentive for you to come back.
Yes.
So
Then they said,
how does that make you feel?
They say, if you want to petition your case, you can rebook another appointment and then you can talk to an officer. Because this was just a blind decision. Remember, I am working the whole day from 7 o'clock to 9 p.m. They have to call you on the phone to tell you when the appointment is. I cannot answer the phone at work. I am the only human being in the entire of Tuskies employee workforce who has a phone. So I keep it hidden because this is my communication with the rest of the world.
Yes.
I had bought a phone. I can't remember what those little Nokias with a little antenna on the top,
Yes.
so that I can be able to communicate with the embassy. So when it's vibrating, I tell the manager, bathroom, bathroom. And I rush to the bathroom and answer the phone. He said, George, your appointment this day. Okay, thank you. And I hide back to work. So I petitioned and I went back. I have to pay another money, another amount for the fee.
Yes.
I go there and they flat out denied me. And now this time they stamp it.
Denied.
They used to say application received. It didn't used to say denied. But now there is a stamp saying I had tried to go to Canada. So next stop, America.
America.
Do you have time for these stories?
Of course.
Are you sure?
100%, man. What are you talking about?
First order of the day is to remove that page number 27 that had been stamped. I am not going to go to the US Embassy with that page stamped.
So to remove, you
So I
mean what?
go,
To tear? Or what do you mean?
Sister Nyang,
Sawa, sawa, sawa.
on the same Haile Selassie, past the Ajib house, at the very end of Haile Selassie and that main thoroughfare, there was another building there. And there was a guy called Mike. And he was the international consultant of everything visa, passport, and get out of Kenya squared. I take the passport to Mike and I say, Mike, remove this page. And he removed the page. So he would remove that page and sew in another page from another passport. You know the way the stamps, the pages are kinked
Yes.
with little holes?
Yes, yes, yes.
So page 28 was not the same hole as the other pages.
Yes, yes, yes.
It was from another passport, but the stamp is gone. The visa people are going to look if there is another stamp somewhere. They are not looking for the holes to see if they align.
Yes.
Now I go to a cyber cafe at Hilton Hotel and apply for the US visa. Those days, you would apply, they have the application, then you would get on the phone until they answer to give you a date. I am working the whole day. There is this young mama Chakula, who comes to KBS kuuza chakula.
Yes.
That is our customer. Once she is done with her job, she comes and buy more stock, more flour, more wheat, more cooking oil, and go to Kikuyu to prepare for the next day. So she comes to my line all the time. She also happened to have a teenage girl that now is eventually graduating to go to high school.
Yes.
So they are rules, but we nicknamed her Mama Wamboi.
Yes.
We nicknamed her daughter Wamboi.
Yes.
But they are rules.
Yes.
So the little girl, we called her Wamboi, and now she became Mama Wamboi.
Yes.
So I recruited Mama Wamboi to go around the corner at the cyber cafe to call the embassy number until the day they will answer. The embassy at Moi Avenue has been bombed. They have now moved next door to St. James Hospital, which is current day Oleseleni. It was a CIA offsite at the time.
Yes.
So now they shifted the embassy services there, the visa services there, at that CIA offsite. So now that is where it is. So Mama Wamboi, from Monday to Thursday, she kept going there, calling the number, and nobody answers. On Thursday, they answered. George Nganga, date of birth, ID number. Okay? Your
Yes.
appointment is July 19th, 2001. She comes and says, they answered. Now I have the number. Now I have to cook a story. There are no off days
Yes.
of how to make the appointment.
Sheer determination.
And the appointment is 7 o'clock in the morning. And I live in Mother North, behind the walls of Delaloo. Do you know what Delaloo is?
Yes, the money, the guys who print
The
out.
money minting company,
Yes, yes.
the School of Monetary Studies,
Yes.
the wall behind in Mother North. I used to live there.
Yes.
So I have to leave the house at 5 o'clock. There are no matatus that would connect me to make there in time on Mombasa Road. So the previous night, the matatus that come to sleep at 11 o'clock p.m., I go and negotiate with the Makanga and I tell him, come pick me here at 5 o'clock in the morning and take me to St. James Hospital on Moi Avenue, on Mombasa Road. I'll pay you 500 shillings. That was a lot of money those days.
You Ubered the matatu.
I Ubered the matatu. So sure enough, the next day I wake up at 4 o'clock, go to the out shower and take a shower, ready. And the guy is ready. I walk in there, had him his 500. He takes me on Mombasa Road. I don't want to disclose to him the previous night that I'm going to the embassy. I'm not going to disclose my dreams to this guy. I told him St. James Hospital. When he's about to, now him and the driver, when they're about to exit, I say, no, drop me at the US embassy. So they dropped me there. It used to be an empty field, and the
Yeah.
building was way out there. I was person number 2 at 5 o'clock. And it's July 19th. It's
Cold.
cold.
Are you nervous?
Oh, apprehensive. Apprehensive. This has to work. I am plateaued at work. There's nothing else happening. There's nothing else happening. And let me take you back a little bit. When I'm doing these preparations, I apply to cash out my contributions at Nakumat Sacco. I wanted to exit before they know my plan. So they kept dilly-dally, but Nakumat had released my money. Remember I told you there are some employees there that were a little tricky?
Yes.
This guy kept delaying because I said, give me my money so that I can take it to the bank. So I need permission to go to Bakari's bank on the same Haile Selassie. And he kept dilly-dallying and dilly-dallying and dilly-dallying. And the banks used to close at 3 o'clock. So he's giving me my money at 2:45.
Anakuseti. He
217,000 Kenya shillings in 2001. A lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
I am running like a ostrich on fire. I go deposit the money. Now that is secure. Now we are fighting for the visa. They open up the security system. We go in, we line up. It's cold. I'm scared. I'm apprehensive. We are shaking from the cold, but more by the
The nerves.
the lineup in front of us. They call one person, a woman. She goes in there. I don't know how they do it now, but it used to be like a one way through a glass,
It's
and she can
psychological.
push the button. Yeah.
I mean, from my experience, there's a psychological element at the American embassy from the beginning.
Yes. 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 So you are there. You can see her on the other side. but you're speaking through a microphone and she has a button. She doesn't have to push a button because she can hear you because your voice is activating her button. The first girl goes in there. She's obviously denied. She collapses.
Literal collapse, like literal.
Pass out!
Sorry for laughing.
Pass out!
Yeah.
Pass out! Guess who they are calling next?
IQ Watson.
George Gang. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go in there. I have this sweater, short sleeve, like a windbreaker, but a sweater.
Yes.
And I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, light blue, and some khaki pants. And I'm 28, 29, bro. I look like my father coming out of the war. It's a woman, and she's a brunette. I did not know white people have black hair. So
Yes.
in my head, I'm like, is she Egyptian? Is she Arab? And now I'm there saying, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, in my own manners. And I'm looking the more, and I'm like, hey, she's digging, she's digging, she's digging. She stops asking me questions and she pick up something and say, hey, come at 3 o'clock and pick up your visa. Bro.
Come at 3 o'clock and pick up your visa. Let me ask a few
Yes.
questions around this, because
Yes.
what about you made you get your visa? The confidence, the story added up. What about you?
I was just about to tell you, the Holy Spirit. At the time, the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
My literal interpretation, because of the background of the Christian religion. Because when that happened, I became weightless, completely transcended to some place else. I remember walking, floating, going back to the security spot to pick up my phone and my belongings.
Yeah.
And when I step outside, it's when I came back. Now that I'm enlightened, I'll tell you what it is. It's the consciousness of God.
Expound on that. What does that mean?
Everything in this planet happens in the realm of the universe. The universe is the provider. The universe is the giver. It's the giver of life. It's the giver of health. It's the giver of provision. It's the giver of everything. You can change the word universe for the African Christians for God. But God rested on day 7. He left that power, automated it on the universe.
Mm.
So when you need something, you ask of it from the universe, and then the universe bounces back with a positive response. And the universe has multiple wavelengths of provisions, different levels of provisions.
And you recognize it. You know, the thing is, I like what you're saying, because when these things happen, those profound moments in one's life, if you're conscious enough, you do recognize that this is beyond me. Yes, I put it in the ether. And sometimes we put things in the ether so strongly that now when they're given to us, the moment where you receive it, there's shock. There's that little
Yes.
I have been wanting this thing like this for so long, and I've been putting it out there, and I've been doing the steps required to get it. But once you get it, I can relate so much that transcending feeling. It's like a shock. It's like it's happening. You know, it's almost like, yeah.
And for me, because of the background of the African Christian religion, I can tap into the teachings of the Christianity, and then I am like, oh, so this is what they meant, because they did not have the language of the knowledge of the universe. They looked at everything from the viewpoint of the Christian religion. But all this is the exchange of provision between the seeking and the receiving.
So they tell you to come back.
Seek and you shall receive. Yeah. Knock and the door shall be open. Jesus' words.
Yes. Yes.
The reference point is the provider, the universe, where all things are, the unlimited supply of things. And so you will find what you focus your energy and your mind on, that is what you give life to. Let's just even go down to the level of the Gen Zs. And you asked me if I was obsessed with the politics of the day in the 90s. You look at the Gen Zs. Right now, you cannot get them from being obsessed with the politics of the day, because that's where they are expanding their energy. And now that energy expands there. And now they are fully consumed with the bouncing back of that which they asked the universe for. So that's why they say, be careful what you ask.
Yes.
Because you might receive it.
Yes.
And don't speak down on yourself, because the universe does not know jokes.
A power of the tongue of sorts.
Yes. When people say, how are you doing? Me, I'm doing very well. We started off by me telling you, I am very successful. That's my language to the universe. Because the temptation here is say, nekogeria tu, nekogeria. That energy,
Tunaskuma tu.
that kogeria energy, now that is the low form of the tapping of the vibration of the universe. And you are always going to vibrate on that kogeria energy.
Niko tu. Niko tu. Tunaskuma tu.
So the universe has multiple levels of vibrations.
Yes.
And multiple levels of provisions. That which you profess become power. So if it's kogeria, then you go at the very bare minimum of bare existence provision, and that's all you get. And then there's that meekness and misery and some kind of fake holiness, because you have adapted and accepted suffering as a way of life as a Christian. There is nowhere God says you should suffer. God is the giver and provider of everything. You should enjoy immense supply of the universe if you truly believe in the source of the supply.
Yes.
But it's in your failure to tap into that provision power that now you internalize, this is where I was supposed to be. This is where I was meant to be. I was meant to be poor. I was meant to be miserable. I was meant to be sick. No, you are not. You ask that for yourself. The universe haijui jokes.
I like that. But now they tell you to come at 3. 3 of the same day, like 3 p.m. the same day.
Yeah. The same day. So, hey, now I walk out. Now I'm like, my life is in danger. If I drink something, somebody is going to poison me. If I get in a car, it's going to get in an accident. I'm going to be very careful now from here on. So I get in a matatu straight to Haile Selassie at Mike's office. The guy who removed the badge stamp on my passport.
Yes.
And I tell him, Mike, I got the visa. They want me to come at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I'm going to stay here until 3 o'clock. Bro, it's 9 a.m. I did not go anywhere. Niende huko nigongwe. Visa yangu ikuwa airport, ikuwa passport, ikuwa kwa embassy. Hapana weza. I went to the next room and slept on the couch in Mike's office.
And once you go back,
Went back there, like, huh?
and once you pick the visa, like, do you have any connections in the States? Do you know anyone in the States?
No, 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 no. So I go back maybe 1:30. Like 2:30, they open the doors and we all line up. And now it's more relaxed. The staff have brought in their children because it's summertime. America is closed for 3 months. Their children have come to see Africa. A teenage boy is the one handing us our visas
Yes.
and our passport. They had brought the boys to work. So I get the passport with the visa. I keep looking on the way home. It stays still there. Is it still there? Am I alive? Is it for you? Now, order of the day is to go quit my job because I cannot stay there and risk them knowing I have a visa there. That guy who was the chief cashier was so threatened by my abilities and felt like they might give me his job. The guy who was holding my
Your money.
200K
Yes.
until the last minute. I cannot be around that guy anymore. So I went the next day. There was one Luo guy that I was very good to. So when we were waiting for the store to open, I told him, Kitabu ilirembeshwa. Kitabu ilirembeshwa. He was like, really, man, that's so good. So we start work. So we used to work until noon, and then we'd close the tills, count the money, re-empty the machine, and start over. That's how they used to cheat IRS. What do they call it? KRS?
KRA.
KRA.
Yes.
That's how they used to cheat KRA. We would work until half day, we close everything, and then we start over. And now they would report just half of the money.
Mm.
So when we closed, I told the manager, I'm done with this place. I'm gone.
Are they acknowledging of the years of service, the hard work, the diligence, the commitment?
Bro, they are hostile. They are hostile. The guy is panicking, the branch manager. He's calling Mokuha, one of the sons, from another store. Hey, Mokuha, I'm here with George. I don't know. There's some things he's saying. He's saying he's quitting. I don't know what this is about. But I had made sure my till is clean. My money has balanced. Nobody can accuse me of anything. I want to walk away before anything happens. Because now I don't belong here anymore.
Mm.
This is July 20th, 2001. So Mokuha gets on the phone. I gave you this job, and this is how you're going to live. Remember where I got you from Nakuru pumping gas? This is how you live. I appreciate all that, but I gotta go, man. I have to move
I
on.
gotta go. The time is now.
I was out. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have America to go. I don't know anybody in America. But David, the guy we worked with, he knows somebody who knows somebody in America. So now I'm on the outside, the third week of July, and now I'm helping David to get his visa also.
Mm.
And I take him to the same mic. He gets his visa. He was also working for Tuskies, but he had left and was hired by a woman way out there, Nairobi, Karimuna University, in a smaller supermarket. So he was there. He goes, he gets a visa. Now the two of us have visas. He has an added advantage. He has a cousin in Boston, but he does not want to go to Boston. What is our best option? Bishop Kamau, aka Baba Su Gashambi.
Who is this?
You know Su Gashambi? The one who sells dildos.
Oh, the one you guys had a spat with.
That one.
Yes, of course.
Gashambi at the time is a 21-year-old Mokorino girl. We don't even look twice at her because she's a child next door to Tuskies. Her father had a Coca-Cola distribution thing there. So David tells me Bishop Kamau has a son in America. You see that jacket he wears? He always tells us it's his son who bought him.
Mm.
He comes and shows us dollars sent by his son. We are going to approach him for him to talk to his son so we can go to his place in Texas. So it happened. The son came, chanced to be coming to Kenya at that time, that July or August. And we would go to the little shoppy. They had a little shoppy right there by tea room. There was some place that was demarcated into small little shops. And they had some little shops there. And Bishop Kamau's son had a previous wife from his younger life,
Yes.
and the wife had a little shop there.
Yes.
So we would go there and camp and wait for the son to come. He would not come. The whole week he never came. The father said, "No, don't worry. I'm going to talk to him." So he eventually told us. I talked to him and he said, "You can go there and just stay for a little bit." I say, "Oh yeah, no problem. We just want to find our way there."
And are you
And
conscious?
then he told us something else. I don't think I need to repeat that.
And
We had to do him a favor of somebody else.
are you conscious at this point that for you it's a one-way journey? Are you already conscious of that?
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
You're out of here.
This is a visitor visa. It has to work. So we plan all those things. Bought a ticket to leave on September 13, 2001. Then September 11 happened. Do you know September 11?
Of course. Change the world.
The Akbar guys flew airplanes into the Twin Towers in New York and the Pentagon and in Pennsylvania. Everything was shut down.
Wow, that must have been.
We are not going anywhere on September 13. There is no America to go to. So we sit and we wait and we watch the news on KTN. KTN had just become the second TV channel. Used to connect directly with CNN.
I remember.
So we are now glued to CNN.
I remember the day vividly. I was a young boy coming from school, finding my
Oh
mom.
yeah?
Yes, my mom. I came home from school. My mom was watching CNN, and typically she would always insist to go do homework first, you know. But this day she's like, "You guys see what's happening in the world, you know," and then she explains to us slowly, you know, these guys flew planes, and of course, as CNN are repeating the story, the footage is there. I was 11 years old. I remember.
It looked like a movie.
Yes.
An airplane, we have never seen this in our lives. Yeah. An airplane flying into a building. It looked like a movie.
Absolutely. So
we sit and wait. The ticket I had bought was with KLM, 147,000 Kenya shillings. Tickets were more expensive then than they are today, even adjusted for inflation. Especially adjusted for inflation.
Yes. That's a lot of money for an air ticket, eh? Then.
So on September 19, they reopened the airways, but for select airlines. And British Airways was one of them. The one I had bought the ticket was not one of them. So now we shift to British Airways. And we buy the ticket for September 21.
A whole new ticket.
Yes. Oh yeah, I got my money refunded by this other airline.
Ah, okay.
Now we go to British Airways. I didn't, those days they used to have agencies that used to sell the tickets.
Travel agency, yes.
Yeah, travel agency, exactly. They used to go to a big fancy desk, and there is a minuscule airplane
Yeah.
facing upward, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get in one of those.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. I remember those.
So September 11 is when we finally made it. So I stayed in Kenya in August, 2 months, 2 solid months and 2 days with a visa in my pocket, just raging to completely disappear from Kenya.
So where do you land? JFK?
Stopover in London, and then we land in DFW in Dallas,
Dallas Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. They are air alliance with American Airline. Then we take a local airline to Austin, which is like 45 minutes. And now John Paul, Sugashabi's brother, is waiting for us in Austin with his young wife and a baby, maybe maybe 8 months at the time. So that boy is probably 25 right now.
And are they happy to
He was
receive?
in a
Are they happy to receive these aspiring Kenyans, or are you a nuisance? What's the vibe?
oh no. JP is a very extremely generous human being. He took after his father.
Mm,
Oh, generous, very decent human being.
mm.
And his young wife was just as caring, as motherly, as nurturing, smart lady. Jane Weru. She has a doctorate in either early childhood. She at the time she was doing a doctorate on kids with disabilities.
Yes.
Decent human being. At the time, she was a student at UT and was also teaching at UT when she's doing her doctorate, University of Texas.
And how is this? How is this stimuli of America? How does it impress upon you when you land there? What's that feeling?
Oh my friend. The first thing is how new all cars are and how clean the roads are. And we're driving on the wrong side of the road, on
Yeah.
the wrong side of the car.
Yes.
And John Paul now with his wife and his little kid, they are driving us on the highways, the biggest highway here, all the way to their big ranch in Round Rock. They had a big ranch and a huge house, a ranch house. We get there and we find that there was a guy from his village that, while they were in Kenya, when we were trying to hunt him to connect so that we can come here, the guy had gone to Michigan to go to school without any intention of going to school. He wanted to come to Texas.
Mm,
He is from his village.
yes.
So he went under the guise of school
Yes.
in Michigan, Saginaw Valley. And then he did a dallied about the school fees because he did not have money until they were done with him. And he was trying to figure out how to catch a train. He caught a train from Michigan, the farthest north of America, next to Canada, all the way to the bottom of the map of America,
Yeah.
to Austin. He had the address to John Paul's house. So he takes a taxi. There was no public transportation that could take him there. He goes there and finds there's nobody home.
And that.
And for the whole week,
Yeah.
he's sleeping in the car. They had not locked one of the cars, and he's sleeping in the car. The neighbor can see a black guy. I mean, John Paul was the only black guy around there. So there is a black guy that looks like family, but he's no access to the house.
Yes.
But he's walking around to the gas station and getting some food and then walking back and sleeping in the car for a whole freaking week, bro.
Wow. Wow. Determination,
In the
man.
heat of the summer of September of 2001. So now when we came, we found him there. So it's me and David, my buddy. We work together. Now we find Stephen there. We stayed there for 10 days only. Now, Stephen, because he was a student, he had gone through the system and was able to get a social security number and was able to get a letter to go get a driver license because he was a student. Us, as visitors, we could not qualify for a social security number.
Yes.
So now we use his social to rent an apartment because he's in the system. We are not. So the three of us move to North Lamar and we go to a bed sitter now. The one the Kenyans call bed sitter. The one with the toilet inside.
Different from a studio? Studio is open plan, similar to a bed sit. I think the difference is a size factor.
No, this one has one bedroom. Did it have a bedroom? No, it did not have a bedroom. It's an open plan with a kitchenette and a bathroom in the back. But there is a big room in the front. So we are three dudes there, sleeping on the floor, sitting on the floor, eating on the floor. In the evening, we would go to the dump site and people have thrown away mattresses. And we would pick a mattress and bring it home.
Yes.
And then tomorrow we would see a better mattress than the one we picked and we would throw this away and bring a newer one.
Lazima iwak, man.
Oh, it has to work, bro. It has to work. So we are now three of us after 10 days.
Sorry, pause. Just a heads up. My producer is telling me we have exactly 1 hour left. So
I have eternity. My time is limitless.
I have
I'm looking at the timer here. It's saying 1:32, right?
Yes. 1:30.
Okay, now guide me. Where do you want to go after this? So let me tell you real quick. Now, at this time, John Paul, we used to call him JP, the brother to Sugar Shabi.
Yes.
He had a partnership with a Mzungu. They were developing apartment complexes. So we get here on a Friday, we go to church on Sunday. On Monday, he takes us to work and we start working.
In what capacity?
In construction site with the Mexicans.
So IQ Maestro Cashier, which is a bit soft. It's a bit soft.
Bro, it's like being at the top of the class in 8th grade and then going to Form 1. You are the lowest of the bar in Form 1. That's exactly how it was.
Bruh, Connect Coffee is now sponsoring the podcast. Amazing brand, bro. And honestly, it's been a game changer for the podcast as well as my workflow, man. Everything's up, homie. How is construction? No.
So now we're in construction site with Mexicans who don't speak a single word of English.
No English.
That's how I learned That's how I learned Spanish.
You speak Spanish?
Yeah, a good chunk of it, maybe 70%.
So you went from no English.
So now we get the job immediately. Now we have to do we have to catch the bus and catch another one, take us to John Paul's office where the wife comes in the evening so that she can drive us home. One day, we were 30 seconds late and we saw the wife pulling away.
30 seconds.
We had to leave the bus and walk to the office. And the wife we had to get a taxi and pay $78 to be taken to Round Rock in a taxi. There is no public transportation. So 10 days, we only stayed there for 10 days. So now the reason we are moving so quickly is so that we can be in a bus line on North Lamar. So now we are on North Lamar. We wake up at 5 o'clock. We wait for the bus at 5:30. We get on the bus. It stops multiple places. We don't get to the place where we are going until 6:50. The job starts at 7. Then we walk for 10 minutes. Right now, that trip is 15 minutes.
So it was a 2-hour bus trip every day? Wow.
Now we did that now, October and 2 weeks of November. Now we are making money. We are making $8 an hour. We don't have bank accounts. We don't have driver license. We don't have anything. The foreman on every payday is putting us in his car and taking us to the bank, and he go cash the checks for us in the bank. Now we have cash. One of the white guys there was selling a little car because he was moving to Florida. A Geo Prism. I have proudly posted it on Instagram multiple times.
Yes.
My first car.
Yes.
$750. We paid cash for it. By Thanksgiving, the third Thursday of November of the same year, we drove that little car to John Paul's house to celebrate Thanksgiving. John Paul used to invite all her friends around Texas to come to his house,
Yes.
from Dallas, from Houston, from San Antonio. That was the home base for the Kenyans at the time.
Yes.
We drove ourselves in a little tiny $750 car, me and David,
Yes.
and parked it in front where everybody can see.
Proud, eh?
Now we are not using buses. Tukona motor.
Eh.
Bro, maybe I'm not going to wait for Mercedes-Benz 3500 to celebrate my wins. I'm celebrating with a Geo Prism. We are at the top of excitement,
Yes.
bro. Then December comes, the white guy, the partner with John Paul, approached us and said, hey, this project is widening out. Do you want to go to Dallas? I have a new project. We say, of course. So now, January of the following year, we got on our Geo Prism, we packed off our little tiny belongings, and we go start a new life in Dallas, in Fort Worth, for a whole year.
And
that project ended, brought us back here in a little place called Cedar Park. It was still countryside. And we developed another project. When we were doing that, I started going to school.
so don't you need some form of legitimacy
Not those days.
to enroll in school?
The system had not caught up. They were still building. It was still immigration and naturalization services. They were still catching up. It's when the war started in 2003, that's when they tightened everything and they changed INS into ICE. Immigration and Custom Enforcement. With the visitor visa, you would go there and apply for a socio just so you get rejected. When you get rejected, you take that letter to the DMV and you say, I need a driver license because I need to buy a car. They would give you a driver license.
And a driver license now what?
Now,
Yes.
you cannot get a driver license without, at the very least, permanent residency or a valid student visa. Visitors cannot.
So in essence, you are not necessarily having to move around watching your back per se.
Not those days. Not those days.
Okay.
But when things tightened up, eventually, now the passport, the driver license expire after 6 or 7 years. It came to a point where if your driver license is not attached to a social security number, you cannot renew online. And now I don't have a social security number. So for a huge chunk of time, I was driving with an expired driver license. Now that's when I know how to drive with a side mirror, watching the police behind me, watching the speed limit, walking a straight line. Yeah.
And so, what are you studying?
I was
What do you enroll for?
the entry point to be a nurse's aide, a certified nurse aide.
Yes.
It's a 70-hour class. I was going to tell you somewhere here before we forget, because you say you're running out of time. From the time I got here to the time I got papers was a solid 11 years.
Wow. Wow.
I'll tell you how much 11 years is. A 19-year-old boy right now, if they live for 11 years from this point, they will be that. That's how long that in 11 years are. From a teenager to a 30-year-old adult.
And before you get the papers,
And I had to walk a straight line. Huh?
before you get the papers, what are the limiting factors around not having the papers as you navigate that new environment? What can you do and what can
It's not. It's none of my concern. I'm expending my energy on what I can do, not what I cannot do. What I cannot do is not mine. My focus is, what can I do with this opportunity I have here? Show me half full. Don't show me half empty.
So
Half empty is not mine.
what's the repertoire?
I'm watching the news. There is the politics going on between George Bush and the Democrats. They are fighting over whether to bring the people from the shadows. There is a group of gang of seven senators that are working a deal to allow people to come out of the shadows, give them papers. I'm waiting for that, and then it collapses. But I'm working with a fake social security number. I'm getting paid. I used my driver license at the time to open a bank. You could do that those days without a social. You cannot do that anymore.
Take us through a list of the repertoire of jobs that you do.
Oh, nursing homes the entire time.
Okay.
From now, after the construction in 2000, so from 2003 all the way maybe 2009, for 6 years, I'm working nursing homes. But there also, I'm creating a separate avenue for myself to customize the service. So there was a website where you could go register your credentials and your phone number, and people seeking private care would contact you from there. So now I started raking premium clients that are paying twice what the nursing home pays. Those families are still friends today. They contacted me on that system. I work with them. Whatever their family member dies, they give me to another family member. I go work there. I remember a guy who had ALS.
Yes.
And he... No, let's talk about the guy who had throat cancer. When he died, his wife gave me over to a high school friend of hers. Her husband had ALS. So I went to take care of that. When the husband died, now I am known in the circle of the ALS.
Yes.
So now they are waiting for this guy to die, and they are like, hey, my friend I used to go to school with, your father also needs help. Are you available? Now they give me over to this guy. And I want to tell you about that guy. That guy was an orthopedic surgeon, super duper rich guy that had achieved so much for a very long time. In 1969, when there was the very first shooting, a college shooting, it happened here in Austin at the UT Tower. He was already an orthopedic surgeon. He had it on radio and he drove to Brackenridge Hospital because he knew the victims are going to be taken there.
Yes.
So he had been affluent for a very long time. We went to trips everywhere in the country. Everywhere. He had homes everywhere.
How much are you
When he
how
died,
much are you making a year on this, roughly? If you
55 to 60 at the time. This is up to 2001.
55 to 60 is more than a Delta pilot at the
Yeah.
time. Yes. Because when I was in the
So now I customize my services and I channel my skills to a very small group of people that are paying more than twice of what these other people say. I remember one time a registered nurse working with me in a private home, taking care of a military retired guy, a colonel. He was a colonel in the military, and he also had ALS. Now I am known in the ALS community, and that nurse was getting paid the same amount I was getting paid. And when she learned that, she was so jealous. She was so jealous. But I was not getting paid by the hour. I was getting paid for the value I brought to the hour. So when that guy died, the orthopedic surgeon, it was me, there was a Mexican, there was a Swedish girl, and there was an Italian guy, and there was another Mexican outside the house, and a Mexican inside the house, his wife. The Mexican guy outside, the gardener, the wife was the house manager. The wife called us all for a party to celebrate his death after the church service and everything. And he had instructed the wife in his will to give us a package.
Mm,
And I don't know what anybody else got. This is 2011. $5,000
wow.
after he died.
And that
And I had made very good money with him. Very decent human being.
and that shows the level of appreciation for you must have brought something
Yes.
very unique to that dynamic. It wasn't just care or work for hire. It must have been deeper than that.
The secret is always to offer a solution to the problem. Your usefulness is what problem of mine are you solving?
Mm,
And then you make it look easy. Take it away from them, make it look easy. The guy was using an argumentative system on his tablet because he couldn't speak because of
yes.
ALS. So he was using a system where he would talk with a tablet. And I had interest in that technology. So I was helping him to calibrate it. He had to blink for the blink to align with the letter he is choosing
Mm,
to form a sentence. And I was so curious about it. So we spent hours and hours. He wrote a book when I was there with him. He wrote a book, a big volume, got it printed and everything when he's still alive. And then he looked at the calendar and said, I'm going to die on this day. And he took himself out.
wow. So what do you do? What do you do with the 5K? What does the 5K do for you? Or where do you
Remember that Jalango house in the
yes.
village? I was making my own village home.
Here in Kenya?
And yes, and some Mukorino had swindled me of Tiba, the roof in Tiba. I had given him 78,000 as a deposit for him to get me this Brugam money, and he disappeared with the money. After I had helped him to get his granddaughter have a special operation for the cliff lip,
Yes.
after I had helped him to get his son back to Naivasha High School when he couldn't get school fees, when I had helped him to get his daughter back to Jabine Girls after she was chased from school for lack of school fees, negotiated for her to even repeat one grade for her to be accepted in the new school. I had helped that whole family just after seeing the story of the grandson on the newspaper. Back in the day, we used to read the newspapers online. So the Nation would put articles online. The Standard would put articles online. So I had reached out to help that kid
And it,
when I was working with this orthopedic surgeon, and I had organized for a time when there was the regular Operation Smile could not take care of her. Her situation was so complex.
yes.
So they had said there is another doctor from Germany going to Nyeri. I had organized that with my sister, and the boy went there and got operated, and he's doing fine now. I'm very sure he's an adult. And then I had sat, what other problem do you have? And there was this boy that had done so well, Naivasha High, but they couldn't afford the school fees. I negotiated with the school, got him back. What about your little girl? Oh, she was also chased from this other school because of school fees. But she has gone for so long, they cannot accept her back. Okay, let's find her another school in Nyandarua. We found another school, put her in. And what do you do? Oh, mimi napasuaga bao. Oh, I am building my house. Nitafutie bao. 78,000 cash deposit. He disappeared.
The Kenyan way.
After all those things I've told you,
My God.
with a mocorino thing on his head.
After all that, he pays you by swindling you. Wow.
So the 5K, I had seen another guy. Now Facebook had started coming up. I had seen a young guy at the university from Nyeri advertising that his father sells Brugam Tiba. So I had contacted him and I had organized with his father, Washira, and they had made the measurements of how much I needed. And now that 5K went to buy the roof for my
Yes.
house. And I had expanded the house. I had, whatever the dream house at the
Yes.
time. When the dream became bigger, I picked it up and expanded it, moved it from a 4-bedroom to a 9-bedroom, move it to 1 level to 3 levels. Jalango, they take a queue.
Wait. We're not gonna skim through 9 bedroom. You have a 9 bedroom abode in Kenya.
With 3 levels
So who's
in
staying
the
there?
in Jalango's village of my village.
Who's staying there? Or it's just for
Nobody.
it's for you when you're here.
Yes,
Wow. 9 bedroom house from pumping gas.
that's now I'm trying to explain to you how all that money now 5,000 at the time. Even if we give it 97, maybe 90 exchange rate, it's still a lot of money.
Yes.
All that money went to the Tiba for that roof. It's a very intricate kind of. I'll show you a picture of it. It's beautiful, beautiful,
A-
beautiful,
And
beautiful,
how long are you
beautiful.
involved, or rather, how long do you are you involved in this personalized home care of people after this gentleman transitions?
Oh, so after the doctor died, I transitioned now. I'm like, I'm done with this. I went to Walmart fulfillment center,
Mm.
like an Amazon
Y-
fulfillment a
Yes.
warehouse, but for
Yes.
Walmart, a distribution center. We serviced 27 Walmarts.
Yes.
So I went there in New Braunfels and worked there for 18
Yes.
months in the warehouse. And when I got there, I realized if you learn how to operate a machine, you get extra $5. So I learned how to operate the machine. And then they were doing the 401k,
Mm.
the saving
Yes.
program for the retirement. As soon as I could qualify, how much is the employer matching? 10%. Okay? Uh, put me down for 20%. Now I started saving my 20%, employer 20%, 30%. A period of 15, 18 months, it accumulated to so much money. I'm trying to fast forward the story
Yes.
now. So that money, you are not supposed to touch it until you are age, I don't know, 60
Yes.
something. It's a retirement
Yes.
money because it's pre-tax and it grows very fast. Then I'm like, I cannot do this forever. I need to start a business. And now, to cut the story short, I cashed that money to start a business, got penalized 20%, started a business, then claimed that 20% expenses of the business, and the IRS gave me that money back.
And what business is this?
Transportation. This is when I bought my very first car,
And where did you get
brand new
where
car.
did you get the idea of transportation? Like why transportation?
I did not. When I'm working at the warehouse, my mother at home had an eye problem. She had had cataracts removed. My father also had had cataracts removed. But my mother, the cataracts was not the problem. The eye needed a cornea transplant. We had done a cornea transplant that was poor, that was low quality. It did not work well. So it did not work. So now they go to the doctor and they say, this is the appointment. Now, who is in America? Who has the money? It's George. My little sister is telling me the doctor gave an appointment for this date in August. It's June. I'll tell you how much money it is much later. But I don't have that money. But my sister is saying, do we postpone the appointment? I say, no, don't postpone the appointment. Uber at the time is competing with Lyft. Lyft is another Uber for America. And they are enticing drivers. If you sign up, we're going to give you 2,200 bonus if you make these rides in 1 month. We are going to give you an extra 2,200. So I sign up for Uber and I sign up for Lyft. Let me go back. One of the patients that died was an older gentleman, a super lawyer, who was doing tax collection for delinquencies for the state of Texas, for 47 of our counties in Texas. When he died, I took care of him. He had prostate cancer. When he died, and we went to a big celebration of life in a big museum here in downtown, his wife sent me a text message and told me, George, thank you so much for taking care of the family. You made things so easy. As a way to thank you for your hard work and for your help, would you let me buy you this car? And there was a link to the car.
Blessed and highly favored, man. Your work ethic has brought you reward from the moment you're pumping gas. That seems to be a consistent thing in your life. That seems to be a consistent theme.
And this is not why she bought me the car, but in one of those days that I was going to her house, she was talking to the neighbor, and I pull up in my Chevy Cruise. It's a little tiny 4-door compact sedan, and it died right in front of her house. And I and I put it down. I say, it's just over. By the time I finish the shift, it's gonna be okay. She did not say anything. Much later, after the guy died and the funeral service and everything, he sent me this text. We meet in a dealership, and he looks at the car he had sent me. He said, now that I'm looking at it, I don't think it's good enough. Let's go with these ones. The Centras. I think in Kenya they call them Sienna or something. It's a 4-door sedan. So he looks at them and say, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one of these do you want? And I picked a dark brown color. She goes in there and write a check for 15,500.
So she bought it outright.
Straight up. Straight up. So now fast forward, my mom's need a cornea transplant. She has a deadline. Uber and Lyft are offering a bonus for 2,200. But now I have this car that can qualify for this. I sign up. Uber takes forever to do the background check, but Lyft come quick. Maybe in 7 days. I started driving Lyft. I hit the jackpot of the time required and get the 2200. Now, I'm doing this in the evenings and still working at the warehouse. So I would work Monday through Thursday, and I would have the weekend off, and I would hit it hard, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, hit it hard, hit it hard. By the time August is coming, the money is there. Now forget about the money. Now I'm addicted into this new thing.
Because it's quick cash, pretty straightforward.
The cornea was $8,500.
Wow, so that's more than $1 million, eh?
It was coming from Florida. It arrived the day they were refusing Meguna to get back in Kenya. So my mom is sitting there the whole day at the doctor's at eye clinic. It's called Eagle Eye in Lavington or someplace, with Dr. Shoot, why am I going to forget her name? She's a professor at the University of Nairobi.
Yes.
She teaches doctors. Ariko. She's a tall woman with bold hair. Very nice lady. Very, very loving. I asked her, doctor, there are multiple levels of cornea. There's regular, there is mid-row, and there's a premium. I said, if it was your mother, which one would you choose? This is on the phone. She said, George, I would choose the best. I say, order the best. Deposit 550,000. I sent the money to my brother on the said wave, whatever the system is back in Kenya.
Yes.
He goes to the bank. I ordered him an Uber from here. As soon as he got the money from the bank, I say, stay right there. I'm ordering an Uber. An Uber comes. I say, unafaa shati ya aina gani? A blue shirt. I tell the Uber, tall guy, blue shirt. He gets in the Uber, and I'm following the movement of the Uber from downtown all the way to Haringam. Lavington, yes. I think. Off of James Gichuru, that road right there. And when they stop, I'm like, hey, monkey, why are you stopping? The traffic iko hapa. He goes there and deposit 550K. They order the cornea from Florida. Now, the day of the appointment, the cornea is arriving, is when they were doing Miguna thing. So the cornea got delayed. My mom stayed there. The cornea arrived at 5 o'clock. They operated on her. They sent her home, say, come back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. My sister put me on a video call, on a WhatsApp call, when they are removing the bandage. My mom had not seen for 3 years. As the nurse is removing the bandage, my mom started seeing.
Oh my God. For the first time in 3 years, she's getting to see.
A cornea is, it's smaller than this dot. A cornea is smaller than that dot. They had put 27 threadings around the eye of that thing. 27 of them. I have pictures of it, amplified photos. 27 threads around the cornea. And the next day she comes, and as the nurse is removing the bandage, my mom said, hey, Georgie, nurse, she had not seen for 3 years.
How fulfilling was that
I
for
had
you?
gone home previously. And found that the poor cornea from Lion's Eye Clinic in Loreto was a poor cornea, and it did not work for her. But nobody told me. So I was at home in that Christmas. So I took her to the doctor, and they said there's some veins that are ingrowing. There's another younger doctor there. And she did some exams, and she showed me on the big machines, there are some veins that are growing, and now she needed a therapy treatment for those to attack those veins first, so that there is a diminished chances of rejecting a premium cornea. And we needed a premium cornea to reduce the risk of being rejected. So that's how we did it.
And how fulfilling?
But I wish I was there. But I was there on the phone when she started saying,
How fulfilling was that for you, seeing your mom?
oh, bro, I could have died on that day and gone to heaven for the rest of eternity. My job had been done at that point. It was so fulfilling, bro.
But even after
So
the fact, you
fulfilling.
decide to continue. You continue working the lift and balancing the warehouse job as well.
Yes, because now I got addicted to this quick money. The lady who bought me the car, the only words he told me is, take good care of this car. I interpreted that into put the best insurance on this car. So I went and bought comprehensive insurance. When I'm driving 3 weeks into my Uber, a drunk driver hit me on the left quarter and then ran off because he was drunk. Because I have good insurance, I filed for a claim. And because the driver left, all I needed is witness. They paid for the
Yes.
repair. And because there was customer in the car, Uber paid me for the 3 weeks it took to repair the car for the lost wage.
A lump sum.
They calculated how much I had made 3 weeks prior and matched it for the 3 weeks that I could not work. So the car got repaired and I got 5,800 in cash from Uber. 3 weeks after that, another drunk driver on the highway, a 19-year-old, coming from drinking in downtown on a Sunday morning, when I'm still going to the warehouse with his little girlfriend, knocked on the car on the other side of the quarter of the car. The same section on the other side.
Also runs off?
No, this one he couldn't run because he's drunk. The police come, they arrest him, take him out. They even sent me a letter to go and testify against him. I refused. So now my car is totaled, but I drove it to the shop for inspection. And because I drove it, they could not total it. If they had come home, they would have totaled it. So he said, you have two choices. I can give you the maximum I am allowed to give, or I can send the quote and somebody else can override it. So in America, when you have comprehensive insurance, you can choose where your car is going to be
fixed.
repaired.
Yes.
You can go with the appointed shop, or you can go with your own. So he cut me a check for 11,500 on the dot to go take the car to whatever shop I want. If they need more money, that shop will contact them for more money. I picked up the car, parked it outside my house, picked up the money, went to Toyota, and bought a brand new Highlander SUV. Now I have graduated. Bro, if I show you the picture of that thing, I used to holy shit like a plane. It in my memory, it's the best car I have ever had. I would go online and buy some trims. Highlander, they had just come up, so there would be some trims, like something on the side mirrors. You would put something there, and it would have the signature Highlander. Highlander. Oh, there are some chromes that had the name Highlander on them. So I went there and got myself in a brand new Highlander. Down payment, of course, with 11,000. One day I come home, maybe 2 days later, there is a notice on the window of this broken car. And I'm like, just 2 days and they want to tow my car away? No. Some guy had come in the neighborhood and he had said, I want to buy your car. Call me on this number.
As
I call the guy. He come back. Remember, the car is mine straight up. I have
yes,
the title. He comes back, give me $2,500 cash. I gave him the title. I cashed out on
yes,
that car. I went back to work and I'm like, I'm wasting time here. Let me concentrate on this gig. This is around March. At the time, the city of Austin is fighting with Uber and Lyft because they want background checks on all drivers. Fingerprint, the FBI fingerprint background check. And Uber and Lyft is refusing. And they say, we are not going to comply. If we cannot come to an agreement, we are going to leave town. They left town. Now the whole city is paralyzed.
and people have already gotten used to this kind of mobility.
I went and printed business cards. Your driver George. They brought in some offshoot apps like Get Me and Fare, FARE, and Right Austin created an NGO app, but they were not functioning properly. So people are so frustrated. Now there was a problem here to solve. I went and created business cards. I say, my driver George, put my phone number, airport pickups, Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and wine tours. Now I'm thinking big with only one car. Every customer that got in my car, I give them the card. Every customer that came in the car, I give them the card. Some people would come into town with that mess of finding a car. They come to town, I give them the card. They call me or they text me and say, hey, George, you brought me from the airport. Can you come pick me up at this time? Of course, yes. Now they're paying me directly. And because there is people in America don't carry cash, now I open a whole app. I open a whole scheduling system with Square, the Square app.
Squarespace.
Square app has Square schedule. Huh?
Squarespace.
Yeah, the one that has two black and
Yes,
gray
yes.
circles. So I started putting people on the schedule. So they would even get notifications that rest assured, George is coming. Now they get so many of them. I started recruiting other Uber drivers to be my drivers, the ones with the good cars. And now I realized I can make this a premium service. They don't care about the price. They care about the quality of the service. So I doubled the amount and they kept coming. They kept coming. Remember, I'm getting paid a fraction of what Uber is taking away and I get the rest. So I'm getting paid a fraction of what Uber
Yes.
gets from the customer. So when the customer pays me full price, that money is
All of
mine.
it is yours.
But now when the product became so good, I doubled it and they kept coming. They kept coming. So now I have a whole army of clients. And they have told people, this is the guy to. Bro, at some point, I had the lady who was running for governor as my customer. She had flown from Houston on a stormy night, come to Austin. That glitchy get me could not work. Finally got me, gave her my card, and she became my
How
customer
big is your
forever.
fleet that you're running of drivers?
At this time, maybe 9, 10 cars. I've recruited other people. There's a couple from Guyana, a guy and his wife. There is Ethiopians, but Ethiopians are very tricky because they are very jealous. There's a few Kenyans, but they are very jealous. They would rather work for $14 instead of $45 for me.
That's because it's you.
So, yes, because it's a fellow African. So, my harmonious ground was Venezuelans, Cubans, and El Salvador's people.
And what year is this?
But
When you started all, what year was
huh?
this? What year is this?
26, 16,
Okay.
17. No, 16, 16-ish, 15, 16. By 2017, I have built a website. Now people are booking me online. They are inputting their credit card online. There is a whole enchilada. I go to the private airports, we call them FBOs, you obviously know, and I dump my cards there. And because there is shortage of drivers, eventually somebody picks up and say, hey, call this guy. Now I build a rapport with the people working in those private airports. We have 4 of those. At the time, there were 4. Now they are 5. So now I became the go-to guy at the private airports. Now I'm recruiting private jet owners and customers into my own clients.
And
Now they don't have to ask the FBO for who the driver is. They have my number. They are telling their fellow clique of friends, this is the guy to
and
call. I am being put in WhatsApp groups in neighborhoods that I did not even know existed.
and that's
The
if
leafiest
if you're
neighborhoods.
talking those kind of airports, that means not only is it that's a different level of premier customer because a guy has jetted in.
Bro, there is the waiting fee, there is the premium fee because it's an airport, and the privilege of, bro, we served Koreans. Oh, that's a whole different story. At some point, the designated official ground transportation company was for sale, and I just chanced on it. So I looked on the website of one of those FBOs, and I'm like, let me find out, who service these people. When they are not calling me, who they call? I found there is a company that is embedded on the website of the FBO, and it's for sale. I buy the company. Bro, the Formula Ones, the private jets from Europe, the private jets from Mexico, the private jets from Asia, they land there.
How much are you touching, IQ, at this point? How much money are you touching? Don't be shy.
Nani anahesabu? Nani anahesabu?
Because how much are you touching at this point?
Real metrics. The ones with the M. Real metrics.
M with a
Sorry.
M and then with a USD on it attached.
The real M's, bro. The real money.
Hold on. M's, but then with a USD attached.
Yeah, we start with the dollar sign.
Oh my god. So
Oh, I didn't tell
is
you.
it safe to say IQ Watson is a millionaire? Dollar millionaire?
Does that define the million or does that define me? Who is the identity of the other? The millions or me?
Very few. Wow.
I am the success. Success is not me. I am the success. So at some point, I have this young Jewish couple. They don't have children. And I had, you remember on that card I had said wine tour. So they had booked me for a wine tour, just the 2 of them. And we went to Trattoria Licinia. It's a restaurant, an Italian restaurant in the middle of nowhere in a wine country, in a vineyard. And we sitting on the table eating. And he said, George, you know what? You need to separate the transportation and start advertising the wine tour as a separate entity. Bro, that customer is still a friend of mine today. They moved to Mexico near Tulum, and then they came back recently. I still have the photo we took with him and his wife when they gave me that advice, I went and created a separate wine tour company, separated it from the transportation one. Well, I had transportation and I had the limousine. I started with transportation, the one with the square up.
And I gotta
Then it graduated into this website of the limousine.
and I gotta ask you
You asked me some?
because
Yeah.
Kibe has famously, your friend Andrew Kibe, a friend of mine as well, has famously mentioned that his S550 is part of your fleet. Is that true?
For them that can afford to pay for it, yes. It's a very, very premium service. Very premium. Extremely premium. But I have 15 billionaires as my client to date. There are 700 or 800 billionaires in America. 15 of them are my customers.
Wow. And these are guys you
So yeah, they afford to
these are
pay.
guys
They afford to pay
these are
for it.
guys you've met personally.
No. These are people who say, come tomorrow so that we can put the fingerprints on the gate so that you can access the house. Fingerprints on the gate. These are people who text me on the phone, George, can you send somebody? I'm flying in from Canada.
But IQ,
So when I bought that company, let me tell you something about that company. It opened up a whole new world of private jet consumers and owners, because now they would book me directly from the embedded app. So what I did, I bought that website and embedded it on the limousine. So when they click on it, it takes them to the limousine booking site, and they would book, and the ride would come to us, and then we would send the vehicles there.
but IQ.
And one of the huh?
This is a quantum leap. This is a quantum leap from
Vibration of the
from
universe, bro. The rhythm of your vibration depends on how high you attach
because
with the
and
wavelength of
you're
the
not a man
universe.
who's shy to speak your truth. But in this specific dynamic, I've just recognized that this is a quantum leap from construction to home care to warehousing to driving for an app. This transportation business segueing also into the wine business. This is not linear. This is at some point. This is a quantum leap. Like this is astronomical. So that means your lifestyle, even for you experientially, things just took a turn for. I mean, even lifestyle-wise, I'm sure things changed dramatically.
I mean, lifestyle, I wouldn't say anything, because money does not change you. Money reveals who you are. And who am I? The villager. The one people want to make fun of. Hey, you are a villager. Shut up in English. That villager. I love that guy. That guy is ambiguous.
Mm.
That guy is inconspicuous. That guy is the best, because that guy can be anything. Anything.
Are you still running this business?
So, I mean, they run themselves.
I love this mature version of bravado because it's earned. It's earned. You've earned the right.
So let me tell you
Yeah.
something, right? Let me tell you, you are counting them too soon. You are counting them too soon. So this Jewish couple, they give me this advice. I contact a guy in Kenya, Tent, very smart guy, and he built me the best website I've ever seen with my own eyes. It had videos, it had pictures, it had impressions, it had everything. It had, if you went in there and you want to book there, here is the catch. There is the leading wine tour company in Austin, the best. I took their name and I made mine almost like it.
Mm.
So their name is Discover Texas Wine. I can say these things without any fear. Discover Texas Wine. It used to be the best wine tour company, operated by a woman and her husband. I named mine, don't discover Texas wine, experience Texas wine. And then I put my logo, like a replica of it. Theirs is discover, mine is experience, but the
Yeah.
logo. So by default, some people would book with us thinking it's with them.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. But I don't have enough units to fulfill these wine tour orders. I have created a relationship with the drivers of that company, and they are doing the fulfillment
Yes.
for me. So I'm just sitting here eating the difference between what the customer paid and what I'm paying this guy. And because I sell my product as a premium product, I'm able to even upcharge more than they can.
Wow.
Always. I had this conversation the other day with a guy with their sim about putting value in your product from infancy. Because if you fail to put premium quality on your product, you have a very difficult time transitioning it into a premium product. And I gave an example about Spirit Airlines.
Mm.
They are going bankrupt because they sold themselves as a discount airline. A Boeing 737 costs the same amount for them as it costs
Absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
JetBlue, but they are selling a discount
Mm.
product. So from the get-go, I have always premiumed my goods and services. And I'm known for that quality because I have actions to back it. I get the best guys to work. They bring the best cars with the best attitude. Nobody wears uniform. Everybody looks like the way I'm looking, but I'm
So now for
cash
you,
flow
are you
smart.
playing are you still an active role? Do you still do some pickups yourself or just oversight at this point?
Oh yeah, of course. Bro, I love those stories. Tomorrow I'm going to the airport to pick up a guy who is coming to have a podcast interview with the the chief of staff of my very first billionaire private jet customer. They are still my friend from 2015. I have made millions with that family alone. Kibe knows them. That guy still asks me about Kibe, the billionaire guy. Decent human
And
being. And now Matt is the guy who interviewed with Kibe
I think
in that big
yes, I
interview
remember.
Kibe did. Now he has his own podcast and he has bought a ranch. He has put cows there. He has put zebras there. He has put donkeys there and goats and everything. Now it's a working ranch and he has built the podcast around the animals.
That's the dream. That's
And the best of the best are doing interviews with him. I'm going to the airport to pick up that guy just to have a time to visit with Matt, my buddy.
that's the dream. And I like that you segued into Kibe because my audience definitely want to know because initially we got to know IQ through Kibe, and then now eventually you developed your own fan base because people are like, hey, this is not just Kibe's friend. This guy has a lot to say, and what he's saying is interesting. Who's this guy? So, what was your first? Where do you and Kibe intertwine? How does that even come to be? And
Do you want that story now, or do you want me to finish the story about the wine tour? I have something to tell
okay,
you about the companies because I had you counting. So I want you to have the right count.
okay, okay,
I was born a Luo. I just knew Kikuyu.
okay, okay.
So 2020 happened.
That's COVID now.
Billionaires are moving from California and from New York. They are cashing out. They are looking for multi-million homes and multi-million ranches in Austin, in Texas. The best real estate for premium homes is my client. So now these billionaires are coming to her. We missed Elon Musk by a whisker when he was looking for a house for the super genius woman, the Neuralink
Yes.
woman, right in the same neighborhood. We have sold so many houses in the same neighborhood. I know where his 3 houses are in the same neighborhood. We missed him by a whisker. He would have been my client's client. So these billionaires start flocking in. And now it's 2020, 2021. The lockdown is happening. Everything is happening. One guy buys a house for 8.7 million and another one for 5.7 million and a ranch for 150 million in one conversation in my car. That ranch was a family ranch. There was a house they were building, and then there was a dispute between the brothers. The house did not complete. The first thing the guy needed was that house to be broken down. I'm listening to the conversation, and my customer is saying, okay, we're going to look for a demolition company. I go to the Secretary of State and open a business company called George Watson Breaking House Company, a construction company.
Hustler.
And in the conversation, the the customer is asking her, how much do you think it's going to be? Yeah, maybe 45 to 60,000 to get it out of the way. I go open a company, a construction company, and I call my client. I say, I have a company that can demolish that house. Okay, we're gonna organize a time. You go bring people there and you do the estimate. I go pick up some Mexicans building a gas station somewhere. They have a real company. I take them there. They do the estimate. They say 12,000. We can get rid of this thing in a day, in a week. 12K. I text my boss. I call her boss lady actually, but David Kibe knows who she is. I say, we got the quote and the price is 45. Okay, let's do it. Now my first demolition construction company has made a net of $33,000 in one job.
Wow. And this is
I did not see. I did not see the demolition. I went there a few months ago. The guy developed an amphitheater. He has no house yet. The customer developed an amphitheater, and he had invited his friends, and I was invited with my son's mother and the parents to go to the amphitheater to be entertained. The reason my son's mother is there is because in that conversation, I also heard them saying they don't want to move their home manager to this one if my boss lady can find a home manager. And I said, oh, boss lady, I know people who are very good home managers. So I opened a company for work placements.
wait, this is company number 4 or number 5 now?
10% commission of the entire gross earning for the whole year is my cut for the referral. I don't want you to believe this, but the same customer that we broke the house, we got rid of the house, the home manager we got her, she gets paid
Yes.
every month, but she works 5 days a month. If you divide how much she gets paid in one paycheck a month, she gets paid $800 every day. I have to know that for me to calculate my 10%
$800 a what?
day.
You know, there's a consistent theme here also around problem solving. You are hearing problems.
Money is a byproduct of solving other people's problem. There is no other way of making money.
$800 a day.
Money is a byproduct of having solved other people's problems. If you look at every millionaire, every billionaire, they looked at a problem, they came up with a solution, they solved that problem. Now money is the byproduct. Everything. This nonsense of cryptocurrency, this is conmanship.
Mm,
If somebody has to lose money for you to make money, there is a con game going
There's no
on.
value addition.
Exactly. 2 days ago, well, some months back, another billionaire was moving. She's in such a small list of billionaires. I cannot mention her name. She's 50 times richer than Oprah. She also have homes in Austin. They were looking for a home
50
manager.
times richer. Can I guess? You don't have to agree, or you don't have to. I'll look at your eyes and see if I'm correct. Is it Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, perhaps?
No.
Okay.
Don't guess. I mean, the circle is so small, you can guess in 2 guesses. The circle is that small on how much she has. And if I say the next sentence now, you're gonna be, I know who it is. Anyway, she have some homes in Austin. My boss lady, now I am very known guy of home placement for high profile home managers. So I fronted a home manager. They did all the background check and everything. She just did her first house. I have to know how much she get paid so that I can
The
calculate
percentage.
how much she gonna make a year for my 10%. She showed me her first money. One day, one house, $836.
$836 per day. This is 5 times a week? Or how many times a week? Or how?
Only when they are in town. They have
Okay.
multiple
Okay.
homes everywhere.
Wow.
I have several of them. I have girls that make 400 a day. I have girls that make 700, depending on how much of the house was used. So they can go to one house and it's 400. They can go to the same house and there are 70 people there. It's 850. But I have to know these things to calculate my 10%. So you asking me if I go to work, go work where? Go clean the house?
Now things are working for you. This is the
Yes.
transport business, the wine business, the wine tour business. This is now.
So the transportation is the startup, is the at the bottom of the Maslow's pyramid. Then there is the limousine. Then there is the wine tour. Then there is the job placement. Then there is
Demolition.
the construction. Then there is the technology company that manages these kind of things we are doing here. It's a whole different entity. It's the one that makes the difference between a Kenyan CPM and an American CPM. That's a whole different company. It's called Must Guy LLC. It came from the days of the Musk.
Mm.
I'm going too fast, right?
No,
We're
no,
not
no.
catching up. I'm giving a story now about another
Yes.
company. I had opened that company during the lockdown because I was importing masks from Pakistan and drop shipping them. That's why the company is called
Must guy.
Masked
Yes, yes.
Guy. Then the lockdown ended and I transitioned it into a technology company that manages this kind of stuff, content creation and talent
How
and
how
stuff.
how, how old are you?
And if I may say, let me not look at the camera. That's how Kibe was able to make so much money on YouTube.
Say that again, please.
The
Yes.
technology company manages those things. So YouTube goes through there, you get an American CPM instead of a Kenyan. cents of CPM.
Oh
You get
yes, yes.
five,
The
seven, eight, nine
CPMs
dollars.
are ridiculously comparatively. You can't even compare. You can't even compare. It's
Then there is the, what do you call this thing? The Patreons and all these other things.
so you.
So that now the must guy became a technology
So
company.
two questions, two follow up questions. One, Mr. IQ, how old are you?
53.
You've done so well. And number two, so it means you going tomorrow to pick up that guy is a choice. It's because you want to also.
Bro, I want to interview him before he gets interviewed by
Mm.
Matt. Look up this guy called Sahil.
Write it down.
He's huge. One moment, one moment. This guy,
Sahil Bloom.
I'm the one who took him to Matt. I have a picture with him, a black and white photo.
Wow.
This guy,
Yes.
he's one of the people who came through during the lockdown, bought a house here, bought two houses here. He is on the Shark Tank.
Oh
He's a
yes.
Mexican Jew. So I want these conversations.
So you're rubbing shoulders
Bro,
with such guys.
the kind of conversations that happened here with this guy when I picked him up, you cannot get them anywhere else. And they are not the same conversations that he was going to have with Matt and another place that I took him in
Mm.
downtown. They are not the same conversations because I'm relating to him on a totally
Yes.
different level. Everything he has put here, he told me. This guy interacted with the CEO of Apple. There is a forehand here from the Apple CEO. There is a forehand here from Mayor Broberg.
Damn.
Give me those very intimate personal stories about his own family, his own life, his childhood, everything.
So you going so
Decent
you
human
going to
beings.
pick him up in essence is also recreation, work, enrichment, all in one.
This is how I gather this kind of informations. Now, they don't know me because of Matt. They know me because
Mm.
they know me. Yes. This one here is when they were doing house hunting. Now he's my customer because he's my customer, not because he's my customer's customer.
Now, being a man of means, that because we're from Africa, have you been a victim of course, your immediate family is not black tax. Your mother is not black tax, no. But have you been a victim of black tax requests because people can see that you're doing well?
No, people don't have to see you are doing well. They have to see you are in Major.
Yeah.
I wasted probably 15 years paying black tax. I did not stop paying black tax until very recently. I refused. I stopped paying black tax.
It was a conscious, because people see you in the States and assume, Tuma's idea, oh, I have this, I have.
It has nothing to do with, they don't even care. Let me tell you, they don't care what you do to get the money. They don't care what time it is where you are. They don't even know there is a time zone. When their need comes, they will call you at 3 o'clock in the morning. Kwani nimekuwa mucha.
So you severed consciously? Was there a memo or you just stopped communicating?
Do you know my name is George NGNGA? I don't leave things there for people to guess what I meant to say. I say them.
Mm.
I say them. I look people in the eye and I tell them exactly what is in my head, not what has to be sieved through my tongue. I don't know how to talk like that.
This story is so inspiring because
I'll tell you one secret. If somebody asks you for money and you say yes, do you have to explain that yes?
Not at all.
Why do you need to explain a no?
They say
Why do you need to
they
explain
say
a
no is
no?
a full statement.
Exactly. If a yes need no explanation, neither does a no.
Is there any way for me to link my YouTube to benefit from those CPMs on that side?
Then we have to make a deal. I have to get my cut, but I'm getting my cut after you get a big chunk. That makes a huge difference.
We'll talk about that off air. I
Bro, let me tell you, when Mungai Eve separated with director Trevor, I approached her. I said, hey, I can offer you this opportunity. He said, my channel is already monetized. I said, okay, don't worry about it. And that's just one high profile person I can mention. So many people, they cannot see the value of it
I am not one of those people.
because we come from lack and scarcity, and we are also magodi. So yeah, in Kikuyu we say you baptize the one that has repented their sins. Kufatidagio wirete. Yeah, so that's what's
And
up, bro.
and now let's because again, like I said, the audience are very keen because I think this is the first time people are gonna see IQ in his in his splendor from start to finish, and also what people are gonna get out of this is how limitless possibilities are. But also, you have to view yourself a certain way from the beginning. It's not a destination. Then I start looking at myself a certain way. No, you must carry yourself with that mindset from the beginning, even if there's lack.
I'm glad you
That's
caught
the
that.
that's the, I
I'm
think for
glad
me
you
that's
caught
one of the
that.
most
Yes.
profound things. And then, of course, fearlessness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I once, and I'll say this with all respect to my father, my dad took us. We had the privilege of traveling young, and him as a Kenyan who was able to take us abroad for holiday, I would see him not cowering, but when you're on those tours and you're talking to different tourists, and I'd see him not looking at himself as himself. So some white guy is talking and exchanging, and I'd see my dad in a like kind of. It used to bother me, and I'm like, but you've brought us from. You're better than this guy, Like why you?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Yes.
another thing that I see you've not had at all. Through.
And, and I have to catch myself even when I'm with my son traveling around the world that there could have been where I see myself as inferior. What you saw your father, I will never be that. But at some point, I try to imagine what if that was the case? What kind of damage would that do to my son? That I can take him to anywhere. He can throw a pin at anywhere on the map. I can take him there. And if I go there and start acting subservient simply because of the color of my skin, what would that teach him? I'm always conscious of that. So, like the last trip we had in London, we lived in the best neighborhood there is to live in on purpose
Eh,
because I don't want that trauma of lack and scarcity to ever have a chance to define him. Not because I can afford those things, it's because I know the level of damage the mindset of lack and scarcity does to a child if you ever internalize that your parents didn't have enough. And I'm saying kids should never know that there is a difference between rich and poor. Those should never be kids' concerns. Kids only need to know if they ask, you
And
provide it
in a
within
sense, this
limits.
is some of the trauma that has befallen the African American race. Sorry to say, and that just permeates through.
Exactly. And now you can appreciate why I have to go an extra effort, because he's here. He doesn't quite look like them, but he can be confused like for them. There is that smidget of leaning to that mindset. So I have to continually polish the pathway so that there is nowhere there is any hint of limitation. This is exactly what I'm doing. Limitation. I have to teach limitless, because limit is what keeps us limited. And I wouldn't want that on my child.
I love
Not on
that.
my
I
watch.
love that IQ. But before, because we need to land the plane shortly, and for sure we have to have a part two. This not even. I'm asking with all humility, but we have to have a part two because there are other things I want to touch on that you've left crumbs. You've left us some breadcrumbs on the internet about like your. There's a lead in your past that you've left breadcrumbs that I want to explore. But before we close, I keep coming back to the Kibe dynamic because where did you guys intertwine? And he holds you in such reverence. We shot a podcast on Sunday with him. Should be coming out Thursday. Very controversial. And I told him I'll be interviewing you, and he definitely has a reverence for you. So where did you guys intertwine? And what was that whole IQ Kibe story from your point of view?
So everybody know who Kibe is. I'm looking on Twitter at the time, and he has posted a photo saying, "What's up, Dallas?" or something like that. Maybe it was YouTube. Maybe it was FB. Sometimes back in one of the trips, maybe in 2021, I had contacted him when he was, I think, either working on radio or something, and I wanted him to amplify a story. And he responded, and then he let it go. So I went back to that string on conversations, and I said, "Hey, I see you are in Dallas. I live in Austin, just less than 3 hours away. I'm inviting you to Austin, and I mean it." Ask him
Yes.
to show you that text. I said, "And I mean it. This is not one of those useless talks Kenyans in America have. Si ukuje Seattle, si ukuje." No, I said, "And I mean it." So he got that guy he was with over there to drive here in Austin. I put him in the best hotel in Austin, the
Yes.
Fairmont. And then we started planning events around. I wanted to show him Austin. So we went to a brewery, we went to a winery, we went to a distillery, the kind of things he likes. And then I told him, if the weather clears, I have booked a time slot to fly a helicopter, but I'll keep you updated. You have to be ready, because it's
Yes.
you know about flying. The helicopters don't do very
Yes.
well in weather
Yes.
in weather clouds. So I'm in contact with one of the private airports where I service, and the guy is telling me, let's give it until 12:30, then I'll call you. And I'm calling Kibe at the hotel and say, "Kibe, just be ready. If they say it's go, I'm come pick you up and we go fly." The guy called me and said, "If you make it here before 1:45, there is a good window." I go to Kibe. Kibe is not ready. I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, what the fuck? This guy is a Kenyan. He has time to waste. I mean, I'm driving maybe 40 miles away, rushing to go pick him up. And I'm like, be ready when I get there. He's not ready. Now I have to go all the way upstairs, and he's doing his keyboard thing. And then we get there. But finally, we get to fly. And we fly all the way east first. I show him Formula One. Then we fly over Austin, show him the downtown, flew over the UT football stadium, 110,000 seating capacity. And he veered off all the way to the lake, Lake Travis, a huge lake, way out there in the west. Circled back, came up by the domain, showed him the real football stadium. It's called Q2, the soccer stadium. And then we landed back there. And then we went to show him how the barbecues is done in Texas. So we go to the barbecue place. I call Sugar Shambi and I say, hey, come here right now. I have surprise. I don't even tell her who it is. She comes and fight with Kibe and they do the Kibe Gashabi thing. Bro, you
So
saw all
this
those
time you guys
videos.
you're all
And
in
then
good
Kibe
standing.
leaves.
You and even you and Sue.
But I'm in good standing with everybody. I reciprocate the energy they give me. I'm attached to the universe. The vibration they give there, that's the vibration going to flow back to them. So if they come in good terms, then they are in good terms. When you saw her coming in bad terms, I was born for the bad times. Me, I can be anything. I have no limitation. And I look at the Gen Zs and I'm like, you silly yous. You want me to be like your father? That defeated, shoulder-stooped guy that he be dominated by your mother and he has lost his voice, he has lost his diet. You want me to be like your father? Me, I cannot be like your father. Me, I'm George, NGNGA. I'm not your father. Your father is your father. You're not my son. My son is my son. Me, I can be anything. Anything. There is no limit to the word anything. Bad, good, ugly, obnoxious, illegal, whatever. Some guy came the other day trying to put labels and say, oh, so you date young girls. So you are a child rapist. I said, no. A child rapist is only known for raping one child. Me, I rape multiple children. And I spelled the word rape in capital letters and children in capital letters. I said, now tell me, what are you going to do with that label? What was that label supposed to do for me?
Fire.
Not me. Not me. Not me. I told him, you are just like a Jehovah Witness. You knock on the door because you don't expect me to invite you in. And now I'm inviting you in. Now you're going to sit here and tell me about your Jesus Christ, the Savior. Tell me about that label. I am that label right now.
That's taken me back to a famous Family Guy scene where the Jehovah Witness guy actually knocks and Peter is like, okay, come in. And they didn't know what to say.
Exactly. So these labels are designed to scare you and to compromise you. Oh, now we know somewhere you work, we can call them. Oh, we know your client, we can call them. I'll give you my client's phone number. I will put them on a three-way call. Hey, buddy, there's guy here I want to report me because I said something and you are my customer. Now you are my weakness. Now report me to my customer, please. I am way too gone to be normal.
But now back to Sue, Kibe, you guys at the barbecue.
Yes. So now eventually Kibe leaves. He go to Dallas. And he wants to go home. He has given that story multiple times. And then he go to the airport, he misses his flight. And then he start questioning himself, what am I going back to do? And now he had an idea of what I do here. And he said, gee, if you can just give me somewhere to stay just for a little bit, and I figure myself out. I say, say less. This is my address. come find me here. I don't have a mattress. I have a spare bedroom, but there is no mattress. So when they are on the way, I get on one of my buses and I go to Sam's Club and I buy a mattress. And I bring the mattress, Harry is back home. And by the time he comes, there is a bedroom. And the rest is history.
You guys are still friends to date?
Kipe,
Brothers.
Kipe, Kipe is a resource. Kipe is a
We had a
resource.
he challenged us on Sunday, and I would like to pick your brain around this.
Uh-huh.
He told me, and I don't know if you're familiar with my friend Sajid. Yes.
The Indian guy,
Yes.
the coffee guy.
He told
Yes.
us the potential we have is unlimited. The thing that's limiting us is one, our day jobs. So he's like, quit. He's like, quit, let's go make millions. And of course, millions, we're not talking shillings, eh? And us guys are still scratching our heads because that's diving off the cliff. But the pot of gold is at the bottom. But it's not easy. It's not, it's a, yeah. So he left us with that challenge, eh? He's like, we can take this thing as far as we want, the three of us. But as constituted right now, yes, you guys will progress, you'll grow, you're growing steady, but it'll be a very slow, steady ascent. If you want something more dramatic, the way it's like you guys need to do something dramatic. So that's the dilemma. That's where we're at, man. That's where we're at.
Do you understand Kikuyu? By any chance, you don't have to.
No, unfortunately not.
Because when I was growing up, when my grandfather died in 81, I was the designated stay with grandmother boy of the family because I was the youngest. So I would go and stay with my grandmother. So I got to learn a lot of ancient Kikuyu language, the richness of it. And there are two parables that matches with what you're saying. Dogate inya, okinyerete inyanya. Don't risk 4 anticipating to get 8. You might leave the 4 you have, aiming for 8, and you lose the 8, and you already left the 4. And I'll explain why I'm saying this. And then there's another one that says, Dogaite okeonoria. Don't spill when you are transferring this content to this content. Dogaite okeonoria. If you are pouring the content of this to this other one, make sure you don't spill it over. And the ingenious behind that is be very sure of where you are going before you leave where you are. And I'll now give you my story in a quick 30 seconds. I worked in a gas station. I left there only when I was assured there was a job at Tuskies. I left Tuskies the day after I got a visa to go to America, not a day before. Not I'm quitting to go find a way to go for a visa. When the visa was in my pocket for 12 hours, that's when I left Tuskies. When I started my company, the transportation one, I was still doing the fulfillment center until this one promised to be big. Then I could let that one go. And I became this other one. I don't have gaps. If I was a traditional employee, I don't have gaps in my resume. Women are very good at this, and it's nature. This is not a shaming women. This is not a blame on women. When a man and a woman break up, the woman already knows where the next relationship is. A man does not. We use terms like monkey branching, hypergamizing, but that's innate. That's informed by nature. The most adaptive is the one that survives. You have to know where is your next level while you are still in this level. That's why women, before they hypergamize, before they monkey branch, before they leave this ancient boy, they have figured out that this guy is not going to play them dirty. Sometimes we see the catastrophic fall of that, but it's very rare because women are in touch with nature more than men are in touch with nature. They are very calculated because nature itself depends on them making the right choices selfishly for themselves. This is not blame.
No, these are
This
facts.
is acknowledgement. So, me, that's how I do things.
Point taken. That's oh my god, yeah. There's no room for in between time.
If I was a model employee, there is no gap that I cannot explain in my resume. But I'm not. No, probably never will be. But you get the gist of it.
Now, being that we are both Kenyans by origin, it would behoove me to not leave you without asking about the political climate in Kenya. Do you follow? What do you think
Yes.
of the happenings of even yesterday? They
What
shot.
happened yesterday?
There was a guy who was just in town. Of course, they are dead. There was about to be a protest. Some rogue cop just came and shot the guy in the head, unarmed. He was literally just standing on the side, arms raised, and they shot him in the head. It was caught on camera, and now there's a whole outcry on the X. Uh, People are now. It's like it's gonna be the flashpoint for whatever happens, and of course, you saw what also happened to Albert or Joang. Um, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of people are angry. Yeah. So what do you think? How do you think this plays out? If you're to be given a crystal ball, what do you think? How do you think this plays out based on what you've seen in the past 2 years in terms of how this dispensation are handling matters, Kenya?
So if we all came together on a big table and everybody was asked, what would you want to happen? What would be the general consensus? What would everybody agree on that needs to happen in Kenya? What is that one thing everybody would say? Even if the government, the system, the protesters, the regular monarchy, the mama boga. What is that one thing that everybody would say, oh, yeah, I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
Ruto
Where
must
do we
go.
sign? What is that one thing? What is that one
Ruto
thing?
must
What
go.
is it?
Change.
But Ruto would not sign on Ruto must go. I'm saying
Or
that's something
everyone
that everybody would agree on. Yes.
that we need to do better. We need to be better. I think
What does that mean?
primarily economically.
No. Now, you asked me the question, so now let me give you my opinion. I'm a very, very opinionated human being by choice, by design, by information. Our country, Kenya, if you approached a young man right now and asked them to define what patriotism means, they wouldn't tell you. They have no idea what patriotism is. We have completely lost a sense of patriotism for generations from 1968, 1969. completely lost a sense of patriotism. The Jews in America that identify themselves as Jews, American citizens that claim heritage of Jewish background, are the only people, are the only Americans that are allowed to fight in foreign wars. American Jews are allowed, American citizens are allowed to go to Israel, wear the uniform of Israel, and fight for Israel. Patriotism.
So you think collectively we need to reinvigorate the whole idea of patriotism and define it and embody it and build around it for Kenya to actually have a chance of prospering.
You nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it 100%.
Mr. IQ.
If there was patriotism, there would not be defied. There would not be the polarization. There will not be us versus them. The only missing ingredient is patriotism. And boy, it's a task to build patriotism on a group of people. Forget about build it from scratch, from where it's non-existent, as we know our country now. The people of Afghanistan, the people of Iraq, the people of even Iran, in the wars past. Because the problem with these foreign wars is because they are told in the eyes of the Americans. But when America invades Iraq, when America invades Afghanistan, the people who fight back, they are not terrorists. They are patriots defending their country.
Ukraine.
But because the story has been given from this point of view, then the only patriot is this one here, going to countries the show's over to fight for their country. But the guy defending their country from invasion,
Is a
him
patriot.
too is a patriot. And a bigger one at that, because majority of them were not trained like the Americans to fight. They are just standing up to defend their country. Those are the patriots, the farmers, the traders, the business people that pick up arms and defend their country against invasion. That sense of patriotism, bro, that level of patriotism
It's what
is invaluable. And I allow myself to say, we cannot take arms and defend our country. I was talking to a military guy in one of these conversations I'm having. He's a sergeant in KDF. And I told him, the KDF and the Kenya police are the only patriots in Kenya. The whole population. There is no other group of people that can claim patriotism, serving their country and God for the sake of serving their country and God. There is no other reason other than service to God and country that they are involved in. They are the only patriots in Kenya. And I know you want to demonize the police as the next guy, but nobody else is putting themselves in that position for the amount of money they make or they get paid and the conditions under which they work in. There is nothing else that is a motivating factor than patriotism. And it's so rare, we don't even recognize it. We celebrate when KDF get killed by the enemy in Somalia. Now that shows you the absence of patriotism.
that's very profound.
Bro, think about that. Imagine a Jew celebrating an Israeli soldier
Unheard
being
of. It's
killed by
unheard of.
Hamas. Imagine an American celebrating a Marine being killed. To us, we even make fun of it.
Patriotism.
And it's because we don't know what patriotism is.
We're going to leave it on that note. IQ NGA. That's been 3 hours 14 minutes of solid gold. Now, as I build
Bro, you can turn off this machine, start over, and
as
I'll
I
be right
build my
here.
show, as I
But don't
build
do
my
that.
show, Mr. IQ, in as much as I am a guest-driven show and I will have celebrities, politicians, I'm trying to build my cohort of regular guests. And from the conversation we've had today, I feel like I've gotten 100th of what you have to offer. So I'd just like to invite you to be part of that cohort where periodically we have these engagements and you become a regular guest because I think you have a lot to offer just from your story. In fact, life story is not my forte. I like current social things, but we always start with the life story so people can understand who is this person. And the kind of insights I've gotten from you today, I didn't even know. I had no idea. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. And I commend you on all the things you've been able to do, man. It's inspired. I'm personally inspired, and I'm not saying this in a generic manner. I am personally inspired. You embody that unlimited spirit that I also have, that I try and sell, that sometimes can be a lonely path to walk. So it's nice to see it and to see a more advanced, a more actualized version of it. So it's been an amazing conversation, and I really hope you take up on that regular guest invitation. I hope you've also had an enjoyable time. I apologize for the 14 minutes, no, for the 21 minutes I was late. It was our first, we were just trying to get the technical side. It's the first one we've ever done. But now I think we have the formula. So this is something we can do regularly.
Yeah. And I wanted to correct you something there you said about and it just caught me because there is a saying, people say it's lonely at the top. You had people say that
Yes,
it's
yes.
lonely at the top. How do they know?
They've never been there. IQ Watson, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap. And he signed off like a gangster, man. I love it.